Game in 8 days, but they're finally home at Spillane Field. They're taking on the Cotuit Kettleers to try and get back in the win column. I'm Eric Bramer, joined by Jake Garcia. And Jake, tonight the Gatemen are sending to the Hill a guy in Evan Hill, who was on the mound the last time the Gatemen won a game. And every time Evan Hill takes the mound, we talk about how improbable it is that a guy with his velocity can have so much success. But as the season goes on, he keeps getting batters out. We have to wonder what makes him so deceptive.
Yeah, his arsenal doesn't jump off the page. His velocity, his stuff, his numbers don't jump off the page. But what does jump is his head on the mound. And I think that's the single reason for his success so far this season. As soon as he delivers the ball to home plate, his head bobs, and that's incredibly deceptive to hitters. Cooper Ferris talked about it, and he said really all you need sometimes is a quirky lefty. It'll be interesting to see, though, tonight the kind of adjustments that Hill makes, because hitters have been adjusting to him, most notably laying off the first few pitches of the count because he never gets ahead. His outings this season have gone 6 innings, 5 innings, and then 4.2 in his last time out against Bourne, so he'll be looking to make adjustments as well tonight.
Offense has been an issue for the Gatemen during their losing streak. It certainly was last night when they lost 3-1 to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Tonight, though, they have a rarity. They're facing a guy who actually has a high ERA in the Cape Cod Baseball League. They might be able to pounce.
Yeah, Austin Sexton's the guy towing the rubber for the Kettleers tonight. He comes into this ball game only averaging 4 innings and 4 starts this season. Also has an ERA in the 6s. It's definitely a plus matchup for the Gatemen tonight. That's something they need because their offense has been scuffling as of late. Looking at the dynamic of that so far this season, a lot of their early success was based on bunting, running, and then that abandoned them. They weren't able to execute. Cooper Ferris then tried to have his offense start swinging their way out of the slump. Well, they're not a team with a lot of offensive firepower, so look for them tonight to revert back to what gave them so much success early on. That's putting the ball in play, getting runners in motion.
One of the guys who has not been scuffling for this Gatemen lineup is their center fielder, Andrew Kalika, who's led off for about 3 weeks now, and he just keeps hitting. His batting average well over 400. And for more on Kalika, who's cementing himself as one of the better players in the Cape Cod Baseball League, we're joined by the third member of our broadcast team, Megan O'Brien.
Thanks, guys. And as you mentioned right there, the offense for the Gatemen has not been that big of a problem yesterday, 11 hits, but scoring runs has been the problem. Andrew Kalika has really been the glue to this team, and Eric, as you mentioned yesterday, you said Kalika looks like he's almost slumpless and there's no way he could get into one. One of the reasons is because of his speed allows him to get many infield singles, and we were talking to Coop today and he said yes, that is part of the equation for Kalika, but also his swing is just one of the best he's seen, and he's actually used that as an example for many of the other Gatemen who have been struggling in the batter's box as of late. Look for Kalika tonight. He's DHing and he's in the leadoff position to get the bats of these Gatemens going and get some runs on the board early and quick. Back to you guys.
This one hit well by Sowers to left. Back is Tubbs reaching up. It's gone! Home run, Logan Sowers, the first for the Gatemen this season. It was a no-doubter.
Fly ball right field, Jabs charging in. He makes the catch. Boomer White's going to attempt to tag. The throw to the plate in time. He got him.
The 0-1 to Matajevic hit well to center field. Charlie Warren ranging back to left center, reaching up and making the catch, crashing into the wall. What a catch by Charlie Warren, robbing an extra base hit and keeping the no-hitter intact.
Oh my goodness, that was just a devastating breaking ball thrown by Spitzbarth there. It looks sort of like an E-fist.
The 3-1. Hit well to right field. Walker back. This one is gone. A grand slam for Jay Jabs and 6 runs for the Gatemen here in the second.
That was an absolute moonshot. And here he is. Fastball in there, strike 3, got him looking. Bailey Clark escapes the jam.
The 3-1, hit well to left center field. Bird is back, he is not going to catch it, it's off the base of the wall. 1 run will score, Jabs is quickly behind him. He will score as well. It's a 2 RBI double for Andrew Kisner, and the Gatemen now lead 7-0. Now has a 2-2 to Bortles. He got him! Zach Houston comes in the game and strikes out the side.
Ground ball up the middle, Grand Prix spins around, throws. What a play, Preston Grand Prix!
Hi, I'm Kyle Schwarber, and you're listening to Wareham Gatemen Baseball.
A beautiful night for baseball here in Wareham, Massachusetts. We're at Spillane Field, where the Wareham Gatemen are going to try and snap a losing streak against the Cotuit Kettleers. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. First time at Spillane Field since Sunday. Probably the longest road trip of any team in the Cape Cod Baseball League so far this year. They try and mix things up. but there was a game on Monday that was rescheduled against the Harwich Mariners that created a road-weary squad. At least that's what we'll say is the excuse for their play the past couple days. We're just a few minutes from first pitch. Right now we'll give you the starting lineups for each team. First for the visiting Cotuit Kettleers, coming into the game 10-16, fourth in the Western Division of the Cape Cod Baseball League. The lineup presented by Mike Roberts. Leading off, playing shortstop, Mike Paez. Batting second in center field, Jaron Kendall. Batting third at first base, Brandon Berry. Batting cleanup, the left fielder, Brett Stevens. Batting fifth, the catcher, Michael Cantu. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, Spencer Gay. Batting seventh, the third baseman, Tim Cisnera. Batting eighth, the second baseman, Cole Fabio. And batting ninth, the right fielder, Sage Jenko.
I look at this lineup presented by Mike Roberts tonight in tiers. There's the first tier in Michael Paez, Jaron Kendall, and Brandon Berry that's been swinging the bats well. Then there's the middle tier that has some pop, and then this lower tier of the lineup, the 7, 8, 9 guys, all guys batting below the Mendoza line, each above a 200 average on the season.
Now for the host, Wareham Gatemen, a short-handed squad decimated by injuries, absences, everything you can imagine. Leading off, designated hitter Andrew Kalika. Batting second, the right fielder Jay Jabs. Batting third, the second baseman Mark Karaviotis. Batting cleanup, the first baseman David McKinnon. Batting fifth, the catcher Andrew Kisner. Batting sixth in center field, Charlie Warren. The left fielder batting seventh, Logan Sowers. Batting eighth at third base, John Sternagel. And rounding out the order, batting ninth and playing shortstop, Preston Grand Prix.
The Gatemen offense yesterday finally got that deadly hit with runners in scoring position, snapping what was a 1-for-21 slump at one point in this losing streak. But double plays have been the Achilles heel of this offense. Cooper Ferris estimating that they've grounded into around 6 of them over the past 3 games. There were 2 huge ones last night, one of them by Kalika and one of them by Kisner, that really cost the Gatemen the game. So fewer double plays is critical for this offense tonight.
Seems like the Gatemen are halfway out of this skid that they're in. For a while, they weren't even getting runners on base. Now they're getting runners on base. The issue is driving them in. Tonight, they'll try and do that against Austin Sexton, who, as we mentioned in the open, has had some trouble so far this year in the Cape Cod Baseball League. The ERA coming in at 6.61. He's 0-3 on the year, making his 5th appearance. All of them starts. 16 1/3 innings, 22 hits, 12 runs allowed, 4 walks, and 13 strikeouts.
Yeah, not a whole lot to be inspired about by these numbers. Fewer strikeouts than innings pitched. He does have good command, though, only 4 walks on the season. But the Gatemen want a guy in the strike zone so they can put a lot of balls in play tonight. A good matchup for them, at least on paper.
Now we're going to have the national anthem presented by royalty of some sort.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Another nice rendition of our national anthem. These two teams, the Gatemen and the Kettleers, are alarmingly close in the standings, alarmingly so if you're a Gatemen fan. And the Kettleers, after getting off to a really, really slow start, are now rebounding, tied for 4th in the Western Division with the Falmouth Commodores, both at 10-16 on the year. And those two teams only 3 points in the standings behind the Gatemen, who have lost 5 straight, 3-6-1 in their last 10. And they're trying to hang on to their standing. Of course, the top 4 teams in each division advance to the playoffs. Right now, there would be a playoff for that last spot in the West Division, but of course, about 3 weeks left in the season. Plenty of things can happen, and the Gatemen hoping that one of those things that happens is a resurgence in the standings.
Yeah, right now the Gatemen looking like they're trying to play themselves out of a playoff spot. They're down to 11-14-1. Now 4.5 games out of first place and only 1.5 game ahead of the Cotuit Kettleers. Like you mentioned, Cotuit, a hot team coming into this game. Winners of 3 of their last 4, including a win last night over the Bourne Braves, who are actually the second-place team in this West Division. They scored 4 runs in the 3rd inning, so proving they can do it even against the top of the top.
The big difference, even though the Gatemen and the Kettleers are only separated by 1 win in the standings, is the run differential. And you can put as much weight or as little weight on run differential as you want, but the differences are striking. The Gatemen, even after being blown out on Wednesday night in Chatham, have a +6 run differential. The Kettleers, on the other hand, -35.
I'll give you my 2 cents on run differential. I think it's an important stat, but it can also be skewed by hot starts and cold starts. Cotuit was ice cold at the start of the season. Now they're trying to dig themselves out of the run differential hole that they've created. For the Gatemen, they were resting primarily on a very hot start in which they were blowing a lot of teams out. So these two teams, yes, the run differentials may look like they're miles apart, but in reality, they're playing very opposite baseball at the moment.
Evan Hill has taken the mound for the Gatemen. Hill on the year, 2-0 with a 1.04 ERA. He would be 3-0, but he only lasted 4 2/3 innings in his last start. That was a win last Friday against Bourne. ERA very good at 1.04. 17 1/3 innings pitched, only 10 strikeouts during that span, but 6 walks. And that's the one that really sticks out to me, because if you watch Hill pitch by pitch, he doesn't really command the strike zone all that well, but he avoids walks by inducing a lot of contact.
Yeah, we've tried to pinpoint exactly what it is that makes Evan Hill, I guess, effectively wild in and out of the strike zone. And I think it's because he doesn't throw that hard. It's a lot of soft stuff thrown in the plate, which causes the hitter's eyes to get really big, especially in counts that are favorable to them. The problem is he induces so much weak contact that he doesn't get hurt a lot.
Again, the lineup for the Kettleers: Paez, Kendall, Barry, Stevens, Cantu, Gay, Cisnera, Fabio, and Jenko. Michael Paez stepping in, the shortstop for this Kettleers squad. Paez on the year, batting .324, playing in his 25th game. 6 extra base hits, 5 doubles, and a home run to go along with 9 runs batted in. Leading the team with 16 walks, which is exactly what you want out of your leadoff hitter. First pitch from Hill misses inside, and we're off. The count 1-0. First pitch at 7 o'clock on the dot. Hill with the 1-0, again missing inside, this one going to the backstop. First pitch temperature is 81 degrees and sunny. That's what my weather app says, and I will create an addendum. Also a bit sticky. This is a humid heat, as it has been for the past couple days. Hill with the 2-0 on the inside corner that time, a high strike. Paez bringing his elbows up, but now the count 2-1.
You can see the shadows created here at Spillane Field by the school over down the third base side. So advantage Hill as he's pitching out of the sun, and the hitter's currently in the shade. Very difficult to adjust. The ball being released from a light area going into a dark. That's tough for a hitter.
An off-speed pitch gets a swing and miss, and now 2-2. Hill from the windup delivers. High fastball dumped on the right field line. It is a fair ball, inches from the line. Paez rounding first. Now he'll go to second, as Jabs had trouble with it in the corner. It'll be a base hit. Not sure whether it's going to be a single or a double, but it looked like Paez was going to hold up at first before Jabs had trouble corralling it in the corner.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that. Jabs kind of looked like he was kind of coaxing Paez into taking second base, but then the ball squirted a bit too far away from him, and his throw not nearly in time to get Paez at second.
So the Kettleers already have a runner in scoring position for Jaron Kendall. We'll give you the lineup right now for the Gatemen in the field. Sowers, Warren, and Jabs left to right across the outfield. Sternagel at third, Grand Prix and Kerviotis at short and second, forming the double play combination. McKinnon at first, and Andrew Kisner catching tonight, the lefty Evan Hill. First pitch gets a swing and a miss from Jaron Kendall. Kendall just joined this team a few days ago out of Vanderbilt. 111 on the year in limited action, 1 for 9. That hit was a single. He has not walked, and he struck out 4 times. Hill from the stretch, keeping an eye on the runner at second. Grand Prix, ducking back to the bag, and now time is called.
I think it was
got tired of waiting there.
Yeah, I think it was Kisner who gave the step-off call, and a very smart move for him to step off. Paez was dancing a little bit too far on second, and if you're Hill, you don't want to deliver the ball to the plate when your shortstop is literally standing on second base.
The 0-1 to Kendall, missing away, and it gets past Kisner. Paez easily to third. Hill round, and now the first run of the game is 90 feet away for the Kettleers with no outs here in the first.
Kisner had a lot of difficulty behind the plate on the road against Chatham. He was ultimately removed from that game because it was a laugher, and I don't blame Cooper Ferris wanting to get one of his best sticks out of the lineup in that game. But it'll be interesting to see here tonight if he can kind of make amends for what he's had recent struggles really behind the plate.
With the count 1-1, Hill delivers to Kendall. Hit foul and out of play. Left side. Kisner was also hit by a pitch in that game, and while I don't know if that injury lingered or not, better safe than sorry. Kisner giving the sign to Hill. And now another time called, this one by Kendall. Infield playing back. They'll concede the run if they get a ground ball hit towards them. Hill delivers. Got him on a breaking pitch. It'll require a throw. Kisner does so, and Paez stays at third. So a big strikeout for Hill, now one down here in the top of the first.
Not only do these shadows create issues for the hitters with Hill throwing from the sunlight, but also in the direct beam of sunlight is the first baseman McKinnon. You can see him over there with his sunglasses on, and especially on plays like that in which he's looking directly into home plate, right where the sun is coming from. Very difficult for him to have to cope with that.
Now Brandon Berry, batting .185 on the year, 10 hits and 54 at-bats, 1 double and 2 home runs, only 4 runs batted in. Some atypical numbers from your 3 hitters. He takes low ball 1. Evan Hill is an interesting guy. That's the best way to put it. We've talked to him. He's always eager for an interview. The latest episode of our Gatemen Weekly show, we talked about the velo pouch with him, a theory that Hill has that if you add 5 pounds of fat around your torso, you can throw harder. As that pitch misses inside. We saw him at the beach a couple days ago, and he was doing yoga with a bunch of random people wearing a fedora.
Yeah, I think that's the one image in my mind that really sticks out the most. If you want to describe Evan Hill in any way, just picture him doing yoga with a bunch of people he doesn't even know. Nor was he invited into the class.
No, I don't know if they were too happy to see him as the 2-0, an off-speed pitch, gets a called strike.
I actually think they were very receptive. It was strange because I don't think anyone could just go up and start doing yoga, but these people seem to love the antics of Evan Hill. And a very eccentric personality for the Gatemen. Also doesn't have your prototypical starter's routine. He's very open, allows us to talk to him, allows his teammates to talk to him too.
2-1 hit on the ground to short. Grand Prix elects to go to first, throw on target, and Paez scores the first run of the game. RBI ground out for Barry. It's 1-0. That'll bring up Brett Stevens with the bases empty and 2 down. Stevens out of UCLA, batting .274 on the year. 17 hits and 62 at-bats, 4 doubles and 1 home run to go along with 6 runs batted in.
We make a point to mention this every broadcast after the first run of the ball game, but the Gatemen now at 2-11 when the opponent scores first this season. They dropped to that mark after falling last night when the Hyannis Harbor Hawks scored first in that game, and the Gatemen, that just underscores the fact that they have really been unable to come back after experiencing early deficits.
Only the 3rd run allowed by Hill this year. Tapped on the ground, right side. Karaviotis has it, throws on to first to McKinnon, and that'll do it for the Kettleers. But they strike first, scoring 1 run after a leadoff single and an error. We head to the bottom of the first. Gatemen coming to bat, 1-0 on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 1-0 Cotuit over Wareham as we head to the bottom of the first inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. Austin Sexton taking the mound for the Kettleers. In this pitcher-heavy league, it seems like it's rarely a day off for this Gateman offense. Day after day, they're facing guys with ERAs in the 0s, 1s, or 2s. Sexton is not one of those guys. An ERA coming into the game at 6.61, 0-3 on the year. Allows a lot of hits, 22 and 16 in third innings. Doesn't walk too many guys, only 4, but he also doesn't strike out too many guys, 13.
Yeah, it's tough to make judgments on a pitcher solely by looking at numbers, and we've never seen him before, so we want to do as much as possible to get an advanced scouting report on him. Looking at the fact that he's 6'2", 180, that leads me to believe that he's likely a crafty right-hander. And again, I'll modify that viewpoint later on in the game if we see something that tells us otherwise. But crafty right-handers normally don't really have a place on a team as a frontline starting pitcher. And so the Gatemen tonight, facing a guy who has the make of a crafty right-hander, could be in line for a high-scoring game.
His Perfect Game USA profile says that in high school he did reach 90 miles per hour on his fastball. Kettleers broadcasters, who we have exchanged stats and remarks with before every game in this series, say that he's high 80s, low 90s, as the first pitch to Andrew Kalika is sent foul out of play. The lineup for the Gatemen: Kalika, Jabs, Karaviotis, McKinnon, Kisner, Warren, Sauer, Sternagel, and Grand Prix. Andrew Kalika has been hot so far. Joined the Gatemen about 3 weeks ago, and he has not stopped hitting since as he takes the 0-1 outside to even up the count. On the year, batting .463, 19 hits and 41 at-bats. Only one extra base hit, though that was a home run. It was the only hit in a game that turned out to be a 1-0 Gateman victory. Check swing there, it's 1-2.
And that home run came against these Cotuit Kettleers here at Spillane Field. For the Gatemen, a very happy sight that they don't have to deal with John Woodcock on the mound. Woodcock against the Gatemen, 13 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. So to get a glimpse of someone else, definitely a very happy sight.
Kalika fends off an outside pitch and hangs tough. Count still 1-2.
And it's not like Kalika just rode an extremely hot start at the start of the season either. He sustained that. 2+ hits in 5 of his last 6 games. He's just having hits and racking them up in bunches.
There's another one. Served into left field, down for a hit. Kalika's aboard again. We'll see if the Gatemen try and do anything with the speed at first. That'll bring up Jay Jabs, who, unlike Kalika, got off to a hot start and was not able to sustain it. The batting average has decreased considerably since the first couple weeks of the season, now at an even 200. 17 hits and 85 at-bats. 2 home runs. Only 2 different guys on the Gateman roster have more than 1 home run this year. Jabs is one of them. And it's a testament to the coaching staff's feeling of Jabs, as Kalika checked back at first, that he's remained high in the order despite this recent slump.
Yeah, he saw a few games towards the bottom portion of the order, but now back in his number 2 spot that we got so used to seeing him in early on in the season. He's showing signs of life at the plate, cutting down on his strikeouts and base hits in 3 of his last 4 ball games. Slapped a brutal 0-for-18 slump. Now he's out of that, and better times are ahead, and he's been putting better swings on the ball.
The count 0-1 to Jay Jabs. Sexton from the stretch delivers to Jabs, squaring to bunt and bunting it foul. It's quickly 0-2.
This is the exact game plan that Cooper Ferris really highlighted for us before the ball game. We're going to get back to bunting the baseball, doing the little things right, playing small ball even. And you see there with Jay Jabs, your number 2 hitter, a guy who's in the lineup to do these types of things. That's what he's asked to do.
Almost certainly swinging away with 2 strikes the count. Instead, missing outside, it's 1-2. Cotuit got an unearned run in the top half of this inning to take a 1-0 lead. Gatemen trying to counter and tie up the game, or maybe even take the lead themselves. Sexton comes to a set and delivers the 1-2. Missing in the dirt. Nice stop by Cantu. Kalika, though, got a good read on it, and he's off to second, advancing on the wild pitch. Now's a good time, I suppose, to give you the defensive alignment for the Kettleers. Stevens, Kendall, and Jenko left to right across the outfield. Cisnera, Paez, Fabio, and Barry left to right across the infield. And Michael Cantu the new addition to this Kettleers roster, catching the righty Sexton. Cantu, you can tell he's new because he still hasn't swapped out his catching equipment, wearing the rust orange of his Texas Longhorns still.
The at-bat for here, Jabs suddenly changes. Ground ball right side is his priority.
Dumping it down the right field line, just foul. About as far foul as Paez's single was fair in the top half of this inning. But Jabs doing exactly what he's supposed to do, hitting it to the right side, so even if it turns into an out, the runner Kalika can advance to third. Easier, much easier, for a left-handed hitter to do than a right-handed hitter because the natural tendency is to pull the ball. Now a conference on the mound with Mike Roberts giving some counsel. Roberts a very intense guy. That's the feeling that we've gotten in our dealings with the Kettleers. The first meeting between these two teams was in Cotuit. The Gatemen scored a couple runs in the ninth to get a come-from-behind victory. In that ninth inning, Roberts used 4 different pitchers with the sun going down, which led us to believe that Roberts, aware of the rule that once the sun goes down, the game is over and you go back to the last completed inning, was trying to take advantage of that rule and get a win even if the Gatemen had scored runs.
Submitting my formal nomination for quickest mound visit ever in this bottom half of the first inning. Only on his second batter and already a mound conference.
2-2 to Jabs, got him swinging off speed pitch, and now 1 down. Jabs unable to advance Kalika to third. That'll bring up Mark Karaviotis.
Well, whatever Mike Roberts said to his pitcher Austin Sexton must have worked because Jabs put a good swing, even though he was slightly ahead on the pitch before that. His job right there was to hit a ground ball to the right side. It's easier for a lefty because all he has to do is pull the ball, but unsuccessful in that pursuit, and down swinging for the first out.
Kalika still at second, 1 down for Karaviotis. Karaviotis has had a pretty good year as he takes ball 1 low. Batting .281, only 1 extra base hit, that was a double, and only 4 runs batted in. But he's been consistent, one of the few guys throughout this losing streak that's kept the bat on the ball and gotten some hits.
Making his first start in the number 3 position today for the Gatemen. Not a big RBI guy, not a big power guy, but just goes to show that Cooper Ferris is looking for hot bats, and he's looking to put them towards the top portion of the lineup so they can all be bunched together and string successive hits together.
Takes a strike on the inside corner. The 3 spot usually populated by Andrew Kisner, who's now dropped down to 5th after a little bit of a slump. Pitched low, and Karaviotis chases it. It's now 1-2. Mark's nickname is Shark Karaviotis, and on past broadcasts we've wondered why he got that. I suggested that it's because Mark sounds like shark. You suggested it was because he looks like a shark, which I don't agree with at all. We asked him today.
He's from Hawaii, too. You
it
look
is,
like your
in fact, because Mark sounds like shark, as the 1-2 misses low in the dirt. Nice stop by Cantu.
That nickname given to him by his teammate at Oregon, Matt Crook. One day he said they were just busting a few rhymes, and that came out of it. So Mark Shark.
And Crook with the Gatemen this summer, making sure all his new teammates knew what his nickname was. The 2-2. Hit in the air, foul down the right field line and out of play. Gatemen making Sexton throw a lot of pitches through the first couple batters here in the first. Sexton shakes off Cantu a couple times. Still haven't agreed on anything. And now time is called behind home plate. Probably going on a multiple sign system with Kalika at second. Now they've agreed on things, and it's a back pick. The throw goes into center field. Kalika got a good read on it. The throw down to third is in time. He got him. Kalika had to dive back into second and then tried to go to third. Had he not dove, he would have been in easily. But going down and then having to get back up lost him a couple seconds.
Yeah, a lot happening on that play. First of all, Cole Fabio looked like he had a chance at getting Kalika on the back pick, and he whipped his glove around so fast that he left the ball out towards center field, and it goes into center field. But let's not forget about the fact that it was a remarkable effort from Jaron Kindle to be backing that play up and to be in the right spot at the right time to gun down Kalika.
Karaviotis strikes out, and that does it for the Gatemen. They get a single, but only 3 men bat. We head to the top of the second, 1-0 Cotuit. You're watching WCTV in the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. One nothing Cotuit over Wareham as we head to the top of the second inning. Eric Raymer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 5, 6, and 7 for the Kettleers facing Evan Hill, who gave up an unearned run in the first inning. That run scoring after a leadoff single by Paez. He advanced to second after the right fielder Jay Jabs had trouble corralling the single in the right field corner. Advanced to third on a pass ball by Andrew Kisner, then came in to score on an RBI ground out by the 3-hitter Brandon Berry. Gatemen have made a lot of outs on the base paths in this losing streak, and another one in the bottom half of the first inning. Kalika trying to get a little bit too greedy. Thrown out, stealing third after the throw on a back pick went into center field.
Kalika's made a few of those outs on the base paths, and it might be him just trying to do a little bit too much for this team. He's really been the only source of offensive production. He's constantly on the base paths, and right now he feels the weight of the world on him because the rest of these guys in the lineup just can't seem to muster up any sort of an effort to pick him up.
Michael Cantu taking on the inside corner, strike one, making his first CCBL plate appearance. Decked out in Texas Longhorns gear, a late arrival. We've seen a lot of hitters, both on the Gatemen and on opposing teams, have some trouble adjusting to this pitching at first, and then they finally come around. One guy who comes to mind is Nick Sierra, who had trouble making contact in his first couple games, and now has been one of the Gatemen's better hitters.
Well, yeah, there's a reason these guys show up late. It's that they're doing other things, and so they probably haven't faced live pitching in quite some time. I'd expect the same from Michael Cantu. Takes a few at-bats for him to get back in the swing of things.
Half swing, he went, and it's now 1-2. Hill got a strikeout in the first inning of Jaron Kendall. Trying for number 2 here against Cantu. The 1-2 missing in the dirt. Nice stop by Kisner.
Just so we don't leave the viewer in the dark about something we talked in the pregame show, watch Hill's head as soon as he delivers to home plate. Kind of snaps down. Talked about this on last broadcast, just overcompensating for a habit he formed after he broke his leg.
2-2 on the outside corner, strike 3 looking. Cantu retired for out number 1 in the second. That'll bring up Spencer Gay. That head bob or head snap, because it's a very quick thing. It's not just a little duck of the head. It goes down into his chest, is a mechanical flaw, and it's something that I would imagine scouts are worried about. As strike 1 on the inside corner to Gay. But I think it's also something that gives Hill an advantage because it's quirky and it mixes up the delivery. As the 0-1 fouled off the mask of the home plate umpire, quickly 0-2. We'll have a little bit of a break as home plate umpire tries to shake that one off.
It's something unique about Evan Hill. If he doesn't have that head snap, then he's just like every other lefty who doesn't throw too hard, who nibbles at the corners of the zone.
Another one, second consecutive pitch off the mask of the home plate umpire. Count still 0-2. Gay coming into the game batting .293. 22 hits and 75 at-bats. 2 extra base hits, they were both doubles, and 5 runs batted in.
Had a 6-game hitting streak snapped yesterday. Still 9 for his last 18, swinging it very well.
Half swing, sent foul and out of play right side.
So that .293 average has really escalated over the past few days. Was sitting at .260 earlier, but thanks to batting .500 in his last 7 days, he's really escalated in the batting average ranks.
Wind up and the delivery to Gay, low in the dirt. Again, a nice stop by Kisner. Gatemen winless since a week ago Friday, when they beat the Bourne Braves. Evan Hill made the start in that game. The 1-2, another strikeout looking. Second consecutive backwards K in the scorecard for Evan Hill, now 2 down for Tim Cisnera.
That ball had a lot of movement on it. Evan Hill really snapped that breaking ball in there, started out of the strike zone, plunged into the strike zone, and an extremely deceptive pitch to get a very hot batter in Spencer Gay.
Cisnera, the third baseman tonight, also plays some catcher for this this Kettleers squad. First pitch, gets a swing and a miss. Coming into the game, batting just 156, 7 hits and 45 at-bats. They're all singles, and 4 runs batted in. Cisnera had never played third base before until about a week ago. Mike Roberts said that he liked his catcher's mentality at third base. As a check swing gets a strike, it's quickly 0-2. And I took a catcher's mentality to mean that he doesn't have very good range, but he gets in front of things like a catcher would. Not exactly a ringing endorsement, but more of a statement on the short-handedness of this Kettleers roster. Cisnera calls time. Kettleers are short-handed, so are the Gatemen, losing Kramer Robertson to a personal matter, and everyone else seemingly banged up for one reason or another. The 0-2 misses low and away. And that's something that is to be expected. These players used to playing 5 games a week, max, during the NCAA season, and when they're not playing, they're busy with schoolwork, or you'd like to think that they are. Here, it's baseball, baseball, baseball all the time. The 1-2 very close on the inside corner does not get the call. Now the count even at 2-2.
I think the flu might be going around the Cape League right now. Multiple people on multiple teams seeming to come away with the flu bug.
2-2 from Hill. Just missing the outside corner. Cisnera with 2 very close takes, one on the inside corner, now one on the outside corner. The count runs full with Cole Fabio on deck.
Hill just looks like he's having a good time on the mound right now. 2 close misses, 2 laughs, and he shakes it off 2 times. So we'll see what he comes with the 3-2.
Missing outside ball 4, so Cisnera coaxes a 2-out walk. That'll bring up the second baseman, Cole Fabio. Fabio out of Bryant University, batting 125 in limited action, 2 hits and 16 at-bats. Started this year with the Harwich Mariners, as did the man in the on-deck circle, Sage Jenko. Turning into a little bit of a pipeline for the Kettleers. Strike on the inside corner, it's 0-1. Mariners in 4th place in the East Division, 12-13-1. That one tie coming against the Bourne Braves. But some of their cast-offs landing on the other half of the Cape. And now Hill has him picked off. The throw goes off the glove of McKinnon. It goes to the fence. Rounding second on his way to third is Cisnera. He's in standing up. Second error in 2 innings for the Gatemen. This one should be a throwing error on Hill. And now a runner 90 feet away from scoring here in the second.
Cisnera was running on the pickoff move. I think Hill had him hung out to dry, so I could see the official score giving him a stolen base.
Yes, absolutely.
And then also a throwing error on Hill right after that.
Strike right down the middle. It's quickly 0-2. Yes, so a stolen base for Cisnera, advancing to second. Then the throwing error on Hill, or we presume it to be Hill, letting Cisnera advance to third. Back at the plate, the count 0-2 to Fabio. Hit down the right field line and twisting foul. Hard hit, but not as close as the one that Paez dropped down the right field line back in the first inning. Member of the Gatemen bullpen scooping that one up. Doesn't look like they've started a fire yet this evening. Pretty warm to have a bonfire. But when the sun goes down, it keeps the bugs away. The 0-2 to Fabio, missing high. Now 1-2. Hill wipes his brow, tucks in his jersey, and he's ready for the 1-2. Delivery to Fabio. Hit on the ground, left side. Fabio slips out of the box. Grand Prix has plenty of time. He throws on to first, and that'll do it for the Kettleers in the second. They get a runner to third, but strand him. We head to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Cotuit. on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Like a blizzard.
Gatemen trail 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the second inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 to up for the Gatemen against Austin Sexton. Sexton gave up a single to start the bottom of the first inning. But then after Kalika stole second, he was caught stealing, trying to advance to third on a wild throw to second on a pickoff attempt. McKinnon about to step into the box. McKinnon for a while was among the league leaders in batting average. Since he's trailed off a little bit. Batting average still pretty good for the Cape Cod Baseball League at .278. Only one extra base hit among his 22 hits. That was a home run. A short conference on the mound between Cantu, Cisnera, and Sexton. Now dusting off home plate as the umpires conference together.
Good to be back home. Good
Yes,
to be
it
back
is.
at Spillane Field, a 4-game road stretch for the Gatemen. I'm sure they're glad to not have to do any traveling tonight. For us as well, we get a video feed to present to our viewers in the friendly confines of the Spillane press box.
We return home for our next home game Tuesday when we play Orleans. And now we're in the part of the schedule where we're facing teams in the regular season for the last time. Last night was our last time visiting Hyannis. Tuesday will be our last game against Orleans, home or road. I don't think there will be too many tears shed about that. Orleans quickly established themselves as the best team in the league, and they've continued as McKinnon takes a strike.
They have dropped 2 games in a row, though, to put Chatham, who are winners of 4 straight, right in the thick of things over in the East Division. Orleans still 3 games ahead of the Anglers, but still, that's a lot closer than where they used to be.
Firebirds at 18-8 on the year. By far the best run differential at +53. As that one hit on a line and to the glove of Paez at short. McKinnon keeps hitting the ball hard, but nothing to show for it, at least in this first at-bat, out number 1 here in the bottom of the second. That'll bring up Andrew Kisner, catching tonight. He's a little banged up, but aren't we all? He's also in a slump, too. The average down to .211 on the year. Not an accurate reflection of Kisner's talent. More, I guess, an endorsement of the pitching that he's facing as he swings and misses at strike 1.
Kisner coming into this ball game 0 for his last 18, so making an adjustment before today's game. Megan O'Brien will have a little more on that. For now, know that he's spreading out a bit more.
Hit in the air, hanging up for Jaron Kendall in center field. He squeezes it for out number 2. 2 down, nobody on. That'll bring up Charlie Warren, who, like Andrew Kalika, has anchored the middle of this outfield. He's done pretty well at the plate, too. The average climbing, now above 300 at 322 on the year. It was in the low 200s just a couple weeks ago, but as everyone else on this squad, save for perhaps Kalika and Karaviotis, have struggled, Warren just keeps getting on base.
And Cooper Ferris rewarding that by putting the hot bat in the lineup and moving him up a bit more into the number 6 position today.
Slashed fouled on the left field line and out of play towards Wareham High School. It's a joint high school and middle school to our left. Or at least that's what the sign says out front. The 1-1 just misses outside. Now I'm being told that it's not a high school and a middle school combined. They just need to update the sign, which I don't think that's my fault.
You've done nothing wrong.
No.
Here. That's not on you.
The 2-1 misses in the dirt. It's 3-1 with Sowers on deck. This field is used for the Wareham Vikings high school football team, or their football games in the fall. That's why we have a bleacher section in left field. Balls are swapped out.
And a goalpost in play down the left field line and foul.
Yeah, that actually came up in conversation last night as we were talking about the occupational hazards at McKeon Park in Hyannis. They have a sharp brick backstop. A 3-1, an off-speed pitch, floats over, and count now full.
But we saw the shot there of the goalpost over in left field. At Spillane Field, they put padding on their obstructions. Look at that blue pad. If someone were to
that
crash
was
into
not
it,
there at the beginning of the season. I can guarantee you that. The 3-2 hit on the ground, right to the second baseman, Fabio. He flips over to first, and that'll do it for the Gatemen. Again, just 3 men bat. They do not score. We head to the top of the third. 1-0 Cotuit on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. One nothing Kettleers over the Gatemen as we head to the top of the third inning. Evan Hill beginning his third inning of work. He allowed an unearned run in the first inning, then allowed a runner to third in the second off an error of his own, but stranded that one. He'll face 9-1-2 for the Kettleers. Sage Jenko, then the top of the order, and Michael Paez and Jaron Kendall. Eric Bramer, joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien, pleased to be bringing you a home game at long last. First time here since last Sunday. And it's all well and good if you're winning on the road, but if you're losing on the road, things get a little long. First pitch swinging. Jenko comes up empty. It's 0-1. Jenko, another one of those guys who's coming over from the Harwich Mariners, a cast-off from their roster, finding a spot with the Kettleers. He takes low to even up the count.
he rounds out the trio at the bottom of this order with batting averages below 200. Checking into this game from Virginia Tech with a 128 batting average.
The 1-1, tapped right back to the mound. Hill has it, throws a little bit high, but on target. And out number one comes off the bat of Jenko. That'll bring up Mike Paez. He singled to start the game. Advanced to second on that same play when the right fielder Jay Jabs had some trouble with it in the corner. Advanced to third on a passed ball by Kisner, then scored on an RBI groundout by the three-hitter Brandon Berry. Kettleers, a Mike Roberts-led team, always aggressive on the base paths. That's one of their trademarks. And it's led them to success year in, year out. Inside ball one. It's one of the reasons why there was so much disappointment when the Kettleers got off to a slow start this year. Frustration had set in among administration members and even the broadcasters as they knew that this team was underperforming. Now, trying to climb all the way back. Now tied for fourth in the Western Division and playing some pretty good baseball as the 1-0 misses inside. It's 2-0. Looks like the 50-50 raffle crew is out tonight. This one hit on a line to the glove of Preston Grand Prix at short. Going into the hole and almost staying on his feet. Going to his knees, and now out number two off the bat of Paez. That'll bring up Jaron Kendall.
Some quick twitch reflex there from Grand Prix over at shortstop, reacting immediately as the ball was hit, and over there in the sixth hole to make the stab. There had been discussion when Kramer Robertson departed this team for what I believe will be around a week, that Grand Prix and the second baseman Karaviotis would be switching off between shortstop and second base. That hasn't been the case up to this point. It's been all Grand Prix at short and all Karaviotis at second.
Kendall squares to bunt, then pulls it back, takes high ball one. Karaviotis, a shortstop at Oregon. Grand Prix, a shortstop at Cal. I think it's safe to say that Grand Prix more flashy than Karaviotis, but they both have shortstop range and probably shortstop arms, as strike one is called to even up the count at 1-1. The difference between the two is that Grand Prix has been here from the beginning, and he's been playing shortstop from the beginning. Karaviotis showed up about a week and a half into the season. This one hit well left center field. Warren after it and making the running catch. Kendall hit it hard, but Charlie Warren showing off his range in center field. Kettleers go down 1-2-3 in the top half of the third inning. We head to the bottom of the third, 1-0 Cotuit on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back at Spillane Field, 1-0 Cotuit over Wareham as we head to the bottom of the third inning. We're now joined by Megan O'Brien, who's going to talk about tonight's starting pitcher, Evan Hill.
Thanks, Eric. And Evan Hill, he's been kind of the guy for the Gatemen to get these guys out of a slump. The past two of his appearances on the mound, and we talked to manager Cooper Ferris before the game, and he's a soft-tossing lefty, and he's really been working on that head movement. And we asked him, what in particular has Evan Hill been working on with that head movement? He said, I hope nothing, because that's kind of what separates him apart as a left-handed pitcher. Otherwise, he might just be any other regular soft-tossing lefty, but tonight, Evan Hill back on the mound again, and it's working just great. He just retired the side, and Evan Hill back just preaching dominance on the mound. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Megan. 7, 8, and 9 for the Gatemen as they try and finally push a run across against Austin Sexton here in the third. Logan Sowers taking strike one. Sowers back after an absence. Was hitless last night, and now with the count 1-1 trying to get off a little bit of a slump that he's in.
His batting practice has been impressive, and it's been impressive all season long, but very impressive to say the least today. He has an immense amount of pop in his bat. It's just yet to materialize yet in game action for the Gatemen.
He takes a called strike, and it's 1-2. Batting 174 on the year. Started out the season as the cleanup hitter, but has found himself sinking in the order as his batting average has dropped. The 1-2 from Sexton. Flipped foul.
The thing with Sowers, and I'm sure he's well aware that he's hitting 174 on the season, the change, the morph over to 200 isn't going to happen overnight. He just needs to start putting quality at-bat after quality at-bat together. You see it so often in the pros. Guys come off injuries. They struggle a bit. He just needs to keep his head on him and just realize that the good at-bats will come in the future. He just needs to concentrate on making each one his best in the given moment. The other thing has been striking out a bit too much. In 9 games in a row, he's gone down, either looking or swinging. Take a few more walks, see a few more pitches, and the hits will start to come.
Hanging on there as he cues one down the first baseline foul. Count still 1-2. Sexton delivers. Just missing the outside corner, 2-2. Sowers has 1 home run on the year. It was the first one for the Gatemen in the regular season. The 2-2. Hit up the middle and through into center field. Past the diving Paez. And Sowers is aboard with a leadoff single here in the bottom of the third. Second hit of the game for the Gatemen. Kalika led off the first with a single, but then made an out on the base pass. Another dog here at Spillane Field. It must be a popular place to bring your pet. Of course, free admission for all CCBL games. But I'm not sure what the dog really gets out of the experience, you know?
Inflated attendance.
Well, yeah, that's what the team gets out of it, as Sowers is checked back at first. What does the dog get out of it?
The knowledge of knowing that he or she has inflated the attendance.
Spillane Field aromatic in a good way. Can smell popcorn and hot dogs and all that. As Sternagel drops down a bunt down the first base line, Barry will elect to tag Sternagel. The sacrifice is successful, bringing Sowers to second with 1 down for the 9-hitter Grand Prix.
Unconventional to have the 8-hitter laid out on bunt and turn things over to the 9-hitter with the runner in scoring position, but Grand Prix showed life at the plate yesterday. 2 hits, and he's been swinging the bat well as of late. Not a lot to show for it, but the hits came yesterday, and so he'll look to keep the good times rolling and tie this game up for the Gatemen.
Gatemen tonight 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. Jabs came up with Kalika at second and nobody out, but struck out. Now Grand Prix drops down a bunt right back to the pitcher Sexton. He looks to third, now throws on to first. And Grand Prix is retired. Not a sacrifice. I would imagine he was trying to bunt for a base hit there. It's unsuccessful, and now Sowers at third with 2 down for Kalika.
Yeah, the problem was his bat angle wasn't at a manner in which it would go down the third base line. Kind of dragged behind him, and he pushed it right back to the pitcher. If he's trying to bunt for a base hit, got to get that bat out in front. And I'm sure he was trying to do that, just with an outside pitch. Becomes extremely tough to do that.
Kalika takes away ball 1. He singled in the first inning, stole second, then was caught stealing third. Now 20 hits in 42 at-bats for the lefty out of UCSB. Sexton from the stretch delivers on the outside corner to even up the count. That actually was not from the stretch, was it? With a runner on third and 2 down, Sexton electing to pitch from the windup. The 1-1 flipped foul as Kalika loses his bat in foul territory, 1-2. We've seen that a couple times, and pitchers who feel more comfortable pitching out of the windup will do it. But if there's a speedy runner at third, which Sowers is about average foot speed, leaves you much more susceptible to a steal of home.
I think that's such just a rare occurrence that hitters may not even pay attention, or rather pitchers going from the windup.
Kalika takes outside, it's 2-2. Now a bonfire going down the right field line as the Gatemen trying to either shoo away the bugs or roast some s'mores. 2-2 hit weakly down the third base line to Cisnera, throws a bullet across and it's low. It goes back to the fence. The run scores Kalika into second, and the Gatemen tie up this game 1-1. Looked like that throw on a hop might have gotten Barry in the face.
He's all smiles over at first base, but that was just a bullet from Cisnera. He took his time on that play, and very surprising because Kalika gets out of the left-handed batter's box well. And he didn't seem to be noticing that he was giving him a hard 90 down the line, really motoring down towards first base. And then he tried to compensate for that and fired a missile into the ground that short-hopped his first baseman. I guess that's the value of having Grand Prix bunt there. You get a guy on third base, and all Kalika needs to do is put one in the infield and beat one out.
Kalika credited with an RBI single and then advancing to second on the throwing error by the third baseman Tim Cisnera. Now, with a runner in scoring position, Jay Jabs stepping to the plate. When he began his at-bat in the first inning, Kalika was on first. He promptly stole second, and then was erased from the base paths after the Jabs at bat. After striking out in the first, he foul tips the first one into the shin guards of Cantu. Might have gotten him somewhere else in the lower body other than the shin guards, so he's given a little bit of time, and the ball retired from action.
How devastating would it be for Austin Sexton on the mound to go from a 1-0 lead to a 2-1 deficit should Jabs have one fall in the outfield for a base hit? He looked to be out of the inning. He induced a weakly hit ground ball to his third baseman. He just couldn't pick him up and make the play.
Missing low, count even at 1-1. Third error of the game already. 2 for the Gatemen, now 1 for the Kettleers. Sexton with the 1-1 to Jabs. Hit on the ground, foul, first base side. Kalika was off on contact with 2 down. Kalika and his speed almost certainly would score from second on a base hit to the outfield. Sexton takes the sign. Comes to a set and jabs the 1-2. Missing inside, 2-2. Gatemen have just tied this game up 1-1. RBI single by Andrew Kalika. That means that the run is earned for Sexton. 2-2, chopped fair down the first base line. Barry will take it himself, and that'll do it for the Gatemen in the third. But they do tie up the game. Logan Sowers leads off the inning with a single, and he comes around to score on an Andrew Kalika RBI single. Kalika keeps his hot hitting going. We head to the top of the fourth inning, tied up at 1 on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network and WCTV. We're all tied up at 1 here at Spillane Field. Wareham Gatemen getting a run back in the bottom of the third against the Cotuit Kettleers as we head to the top of the fourth. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 for the Kettleers. Brandon Barry, Brett Stevens, and Michael Cantu set to face Evan Hill. Hill gave up an unearned run in the first inning, allowed a runner to third but stranded him in the second, then finally had a 1-2-3 inning back in the third. Called strike on the outside corner to Barry. Barry's first time up, grounded out to short, but that was with a runner, Paez, on third. It was an RBI ground out with Paez scoring. Hill from the windup delivers the 0-1 low to even up the count at 1-1. One to Barry, hit sharply to the glove of John Sternagel at third base. Another line drive out in the infield. Both teams have fallen victim to that so far in this game. One down now for Brett Stevens. Stevens, his first time up, grounded out to second to end the first inning.
You catch that little kid dancing before we got started with this inning?
I did not.
I was so excited about it that my jerky movement in here with my head, kind of like Evan Hill, I guess, on the mound, caused the entire board to completely fall off its perch.
I did notice that. But I kept going. Fight through it.
Try to be transparent, though.
Yep, absolutely. Wondering what all that rustling was.
Yeah.
First pitch is bunted foul down the third base line off the bat of Stevens. A scoring correction, and we'll bring it up when he steps to the plate again. Grand Prix was credited with a sacrifice on that bunt back to the pitcher in the third. Ambiguous intent, but when in doubt, we give him the sacrifice, and so Grand Prix not credited with an at-bat in the third inning.
It's a league run on stats, and every stat, every at-bat important for these players. So Grand Prix will certainly be pleased with that.
And the run would not have scored, I don't believe, had that sacrifice not taken place. So, I guess by the very nature of it, it was a sacrifice. The 2-1 clips the inside corner. It's 2-2 now to Stevens. Cotuit scored one run, an unearned run, in the top half of the first inning. Gatemen just a few moments ago tying it up on an RBI single by Andrew Kalika in the bottom of the third. With one out in the top of the fourth, Stevens taps the 2-2 foul. Stevens steps into the left-handed batter's box, awaiting the 2-2 from Hill. The windup and the pitch. Just missing outside, count runs full with Cantu on deck. It's another nice thing about being at home. We're finally behind home plate. Usually on the road, we're down either the first or third base line. 3-2, high fastball, got him. Another strikeout for Evan Hill, his fourth. And now two down here in the top of the fourth.
Evan Hill is just quietly putting together another very solid outing for the Gatemen. He's only allowed 2 base runners so far through 3 2/3 innings, so a whip of less than 1 in this ball game. That's always a great sight to see. He has been allowing quite a few base runners, whether they come on singles or on walks, but here tonight definitely limiting the damage, and his strikeout numbers are up as well.
First pitch to Cantu, chopped on the ground to second. Karaviotis throws on in plenty of time to get Cantu. Second consecutive 1-2-3 inning for Evan Hill. We head to the bottom of the fourth, tied up between Wareham and Cotuit 1-1 on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We're all tied up at 1-1 between the Wareham Gatemen and the Cotuit Kettleers as we head to the bottom of the fourth inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. Karaviotis, McKinnon, and Kisner due up for the Gatemen against Austin Sexton. Pretty good crowd here tonight at Spillane Field. We're now in peak tourist season in Cape Cod, and even though Wareham not really on the Cape, they are the gateway to the Cape. That's the namesake of the Wareham Gatemen. So a lot of tourist traffic, if not staying in Wareham, coming through and catching a nice baseball game here on a Saturday night. You want to know how the Cotuit Kettleers got their name?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Well, it dates back to a couple hundred years ago when the land now named Cotuit on the Cape Cod
I know where you're going with this.
was bartered with some Native Americans who owned the land or occupied the land. And as part of the exchange, the settlers gave the Native Americans a kettle, a brass kettle, and thus the name the Kettleers. Whether or not that story is true or not, I suppose, is left to the viewer. But that's the story, and they're sticking with it.
It's a good story.
Yeah. Sexton to Karaviotis, first pitch on the inside corner, strike one.
I think it's pretty fascinating, though, how not just the Kettleers, but all these teams got their names. A lot of discussion with major league teams when there was a conflict as to who would ultimately keep the name. And you see, I guess, a little bit of despise for the major league teams when these Cape teams have to change their names. I know at Orleans, their PA announcers, or their PA announcer singular, will sometimes say, "Go Cardinals,"
Yeah.
instead of Firebirds.
Pretty edgy.
Living on the edge, I guess, yeah.
The 2-1 to Karaviotis. Missing just low. It's 3-1 with McKinnon on deck. Sexton with the 3-1 to Karaviotis, clipping the lower edge of the zone. Count now full. Zach Houston, you can see in the background, selling those 50-50 raffle tickets as the 3-2 hit on the ground. Nice stop by Barry on a tough hop to flip on to first. Sexton's waiting for it, and out number one off the bat of Karaviotis. Looked like Barry tried to forehand that ball, but then a tough hop sent it to his opposite glove side. Still forehanding it and coming up with it improbably for out number one here in the fourth.
I think the goal 90% of the time for infielders is to forehand it because it allows them to round the ball and get their momentum onto first base. Backhanding is kind of a second option, and I guess when you always assume forehand, it's then easier to go to a backhand instead of anticipating the other way around.
First pitch to McKinnon, misses low, ball one.
Because I guess when you go into a play knowing you're going to backhand, and this is on tweeners, not on balls that are definitely in the hole.
1-0 hit weakly on a hop to Cisnera. Throw across the diamond is on target this time. Out number two.
I think it's just easier to adjust going from forehand to backhand than it is backhand to forehand.
I would agree. Now Kisner flew out to center his first time up. Having some trouble at the plate, and the adjustments, as you mentioned in his first at bat, are now starting to take hold. A wider base, trying to keep his head more still. First pitch swinging, misses, and it's 0-1. These changes can be made because they're fine-tuning what is a pretty fundamentally sound swing. Kisner coming into the Cape, one of the more highly touted prospects, and even though he's having some struggles, the base is there for a pretty successful post-collegiate career. Ball one misses outside. The 1-1 to Kisner. Right down the middle, 1-2. Both Sexton and Hill having early success tonight. Hill's only run unearned. And though Sexton's run allowed was earned, it scored thanks in large part to a throwing error by Tim Cisnera, his third baseman. The 1-2 to Kisner, missing outside 2-2. Sexton from the windup delivers the 2-2 to Kisner, low in the dirt. Stopped by Cantu, it trickles away with nobody on base, no matter. Count runs full with Charlie Warren on deck.
The scouting report that we were given on Austin Sexton before the game was that he was a pitcher who didn't throw a lot of first pitch strikes, and you would think that would make him more susceptible to issuing walks, but so far today, He's not allowed one. Kisner could be on board for the first time via walk, as Sexton may be in danger of losing him.
Sexton with the payoff pitch, just missing, low and outside, ball 4. Kisner's aboard with a walk with 2 down. That'll bring up Charlie Warren.
A very good take there by Kisner with 2 strikes in the count. And I think the changes that he's making, and they're all small changes, but they can be seen even in that at-bat, even though he didn't put the ball in play. Having a good eye at the plate is something that you can work on by just working on your stance. It starts with a stronger base and a wider base.
First pitch to Warren, hit through the hole in right. Kisner checks in at second. A 2-out single for Charlie Warren keeps this inning alive.
And just to finish that thought, a wider base means less head movement, which means a better ability to discern where the ball is going to end up on a given pitch.
Logan Sowers stepping in. He rolled a single up the middle back in the 3rd inning for a hit, one of his first hits in a while, and later came around to score on the RBI infield single by Andrew Kalika. Gary Gatemen trying to start a little bit of a cheer behind home plate. You can see his mug on the top of your screen. First pitch to Sowers, swung on and missed. A low pitch. The runner at second, Kisner. Runner at first, Warren. Gatemen trying to take the lead for the first time tonight. With the count 0-1, Sexton steps off.
Spaghetti move on to second base.
Yeah, still not sure what that means. As you can see, Ryan Williamson be on the outfield fence, interacting with a fan of some sort. Count 0-1. Sexton trying to work out of a jam. The pitch to Sowers. High fastball swung on and missed. Through the swing of the powerful righty, and it's quickly 0-2. Kisner walked with 2 down, followed by a Charlie Warren single. They're at first and second, hoping Sowers can drive them in. The 0-2, missing outside, 1-2. Infield and outfield at normal depth. Trying to get out of this jam. Sexton's 1-2 to Sowers, missing high and tight. Now 2-2. Cantu takes a couple steps in front of home plate to throw the ball back, and now communicating with his pitcher and his infield, making sure everyone's on the same page. Sexton comes to a set, delivers the 2-2 to Sowers. Got him on an off-speed pitch. So Sexton pitches himself into trouble, then pitches out of it. We're through 4 innings here at Spillane Field. Tied up 1-1 between Cotuit and Wareham. You're watching Wareham Community Television and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Tied up 1-1 as we head to the top of the 5th inning between the Wareham Gatemen and the Cotuit Kettleers. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. 6, 7, and 8 due up for the Kettleers against Evan Hill, who will try and pitch through the 5th inning, something he failed to do his last time out.
Yeah, his last start against Bourne only lasted 4 2/3. Only allowed an earned run, but his command kind of eluded him as he was going deeper and deeper into that ball game. He has gone deeper into ball games in this season through 5 against YD and then 6 against Brewster, so definitely has the makeup to take his team deep into a game.
Hill finishes his warm-up tosses, and Gay will step to the plate. He struck out looking back in the 2nd inning. Gay, Cisnera, and Fabio due up for the Kettleers here in their half of the 5th. Hill has not pitched out of the stretch since the second inning. First pitch missing inside, ball 1 to Gay. After missing on the first pitch, an off-speed pitch gets a wild swing and a miss from Gay, who looked like about 3/4 of the way through. He decided he didn't want to swing. Count even at 1-1. Hill with the 1-1, hit in the air, left field. Sowers in, now back a couple steps. He has it measured for out number 1. That is the second ball hit out to the outfield by the Kettleers in this game.
And 8 in a row retired by Evan Hill. Ever since allowing that run in the first, that wasn't necessarily his fault. Actually, it wasn't his fault. It was an unearned run. But ever since then, he's only allowed 1 base runner and really has been mowing down these Cotuit Kettleers.
First pitch to Cisnera, fouled off left side. Only 1 hit allowed. That was the first batter of the game, Mike Paez. The Gatemen have 4 hits, but like the Kettleers, just 1 run. Hill with the 0-1, missing away. It trickles away, but no matter. Hill takes the sign from his catcher Kisner. Winds and delivers the 1-1 to Cisnera, again missing wide, again getting away from Kisner, and it's 2-1. We've seen this from Hill, not really attacking hitters per se, but getting behind in the count and then throwing a strike and inducing weak contact nonetheless. The 2-1 hit sharply, right side, but to the glove of McKinnon on a couple hops. The flip over to Hill, who looks down and touches the base with his foot. 2 down.
That last at-bat is Evan Hill in a nutshell. Throws 2 pitches that aren't close, comes back with a strike, and induces really weak contact. Hitters just kind of get lulled to sleep, and they get really big-eyed at the plate, seeing a pitch finally in the strike zone after so many out of them. Turns out to just be an easy ground ball to McKinnon.
Now Cole Fabio. He grounded out to short to end the second inning.
It's not your conventional style of pitching, but Evan Hill and his quirkiness, his head movements, and the whole 9 yards, not your conventional pitcher.
First pitch fouled back. It's 0-1. This is a new hitter. It is not Cole Fabio, an unannounced substitution.
It's Brody Weiss.
Yes, Brody Weiss.
Riverside Community College.
We've seen plenty of Weiss. Imagine that he'll take over in second base for Fabio. Weiss, the son of Rockies manager Walt Weiss. The 0-2 missing just outside. It's 1-2. We'll assume that he is pinch hitting here and that he was not a defensive substitution earlier because neither we nor the official scorer was notified of anything. Hill to Weiss, chops it foul down the third base line. I believe, I'm almost certain that it was Fabio in the first inning plate appearance.
100%. Yes, it was. And he grounded out to Grand Prix to end the inning.
Brody Weiss at the plate with a 1-2 count, 2 down, nobody on in the top of the 5th inning. The delivery from Hill, a slow breaking pitch that just misses outside. Looked like it bent around the strike zone. And now 2-2.
Not a bad idea, though, when you're ahead in a 1-2 count to try that backdoor breaking ball. Try and steal a strike without the hitter even anticipating it.
2-2 from Hill. Missing low. Nice job laying off by Weiss, and now the count full with Sage Jenko on deck. And yes, that is Jenko in the on-deck circle. There was not another substitution. The 3-2, half swing, the appeal down to first. He did not go. Very close call, but Weiss reaches with a 2-out walk here in the 5th. Sage Jenko stepping up to the plate. In the bottom half of the fourth inning, the Gatemen got a 2-out walk, followed up by a single, but then Logan Sowers struck out to end the threat. Evan Hill trying to avoid the detour of the single and just retired Jenko here to end the inning.
And he would much rather face the leadoff hitter, Michael Paez, who's been the best hitter on this Cotuit team, with a fresh slate, nobody on base, instead of having to go against him with potentially runners in scoring position.
First, a check of the runner at first. Weiss is back without a dive. First base runner that the Kettleers have had since 2 down in the second inning when Cisnera drew a 2-out walk. Hill, for the first time in a while, pitching from the stretch. First pitch hits the outside corner, strike one. Jenko is first time up. Tap back to the pitcher. Hill threw on to first to retire him. A different move there. As a throw on a short hop to McKinnon. He handles it, no tag. Weiss might try and steal here. Kettleers always aggressive on the base paths, and Weiss known for his speed. Does not go here as the 0-1 again hits the outside corner, quickly 0-2. Hill takes the sign. Jenko's tired of waiting. He calls time. Now Kisner steps up. Adjusts his equipment. Now crouches back down. For the 0-2, a throw over to first. Weiss back again safely. Hill steps off now. Now back on. Comes to a set, checking Weiss at first, the 0-2 to Jenko, missing outside. You see Hill miss badly quite often, but we have not seen him hit many batters. That's the weird thing. It seems like whenever he misses away from the batter, which I don't think is a reluctance to pitch inside. It's just his sweeping breaking pitch going left to right, looking in from center field. The 1-2 high fastball got him. If it's Hill's last batter, he ends on a high note, striking out Sage Jenko to end the top half of the fifth inning. We head to the bottom of the fifth. Gatemen tied up with the Cotuit Kettleers 1-1 on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We're tied up. Gatemen and the Kettleers. Eric Raymer joined by Jake Garcia and now Megan O'Brien. This is a very busy time for Major League Baseball scouts, and they're in attendance tonight.
Thanks, Eric. Yes, and one of the biggest attractions to the Cape League for these players is the scout exposure that they get, and I just caught up with Stan Meeks, the head of scouting for the Miami Marlins, and he was actually the former Wareham Gatemen coach back in 1986, I believe, he just told me before I was even thought about, is what he said. But Stan Meeks was telling me his favorite part about coming to the Cape League is you see these guys, and for the first time it's like they're actually playing in the minor league system. And you know, he said guys who might slump early on, what his favorite part to do is watch how they progress throughout the season, and that shows a true testament for how these guys are going to develop throughout their careers. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Megan. John Sternagel takes outside ball one. He will lead off the bottom half of the fifth inning for the Gatemen against Austin Sexton. Will be followed by Preston Grand Prix on the top of the order and Andrew Kalika. The 1-0 sent weakly up the middle. Tough play for Paez. Throws across. In time, he got him. What a throw by Paez. What a stretch by Brandon Berry at first base.
No instant replay in the Cape League. So the ruling on the field, of course, going to stand.
You're suggesting that you disagree.
No, not at all. I think that would take far too much time. These games are so great, or at least one aspect of them, because fans don't have to come out and shed 3 hours of their evenings, get these games in quickly. And instant replay I don't think belongs in the Cape. It's an old school league. I think the extra lunge there from Sternagel, instead of continuing to take shorter, choppier steps when he got around first base, is what may have cost him there. But all in all, it was a great play by Paez and his first baseman, Barry.
The 1-0 to Preston Grand Prix is taken on the outside corner to even up the count at 1-1. Grand Prix is first time up, bunted back to the pitcher. We initially did not consider it a sacrifice, but then were convinced otherwise. Ambiguous intent will give him the benefit of the doubt, as the runner, with 1 out, Sowers, was advanced to third. Waves at a pitch low and in, and now 1-2. Sexton from the windup delivers the 1-2 to Grand Prix, fouled off right side, out of play. Gatemen wearing their home white uniforms for the second night in a row. Wore them on the road last night in Hyannis. Rolled to third base. Cisnera has it. Another opportunity to throw across the diamond. He does so uneventfully in time for out number 2. That'll bring up Andrew Kalika, who, surprise, surprise, has 2 hits tonight, one of them driving in a run. He also has a stolen base to his name. Singled, stole second in the first inning, then was caught stealing in the scorecard, but he was trying to advance to third after a back pick went into center field. Then an RBI single in the third, an infield single as he takes low ball 1, advancing to second on a wild throw by the third baseman Tim Cisnera.
So for Kalika, make that 2+ hits in 6 of his last 7 games. The hits just keep coming in bunches. He's not getting one early in the game and then being content. He's taking that same intense approach into the rest of his at-bats throughout the game and really reaping the rewards.
Count now 1-1. Sexton delivers to Kalika, fouled off left side. So now Kalika is 21 for 43. If he singles here, he will be batting an even 500. The 1-2 slapped on the left field line, foul ball. 500. He is currently batting somewhere upwards of 463. He picks up his lumber and slowly walks back to the left-handed batter's box, trying to at least extend this inning for the do-hitter Jay Jabs waiting on deck. Now time called by Kalika. Looked like he was shooing an insect away from his face. Sexton with the 1-2 to Kalika. Just missing the inside corner, a close pitch. And while we can't assume things, that might not be a call that is made if Kalika isn't batting almost 500. The 1-2 to Kalika. Hit on the ground, routine for the second baseman, Fabio. He throws on to first, and that'll do it for the Gatemen in the 5th. They go down 1-2-3. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Still tied up 1-1 between Cotuit and Wareham on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We're tied 1-1 as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Wareham Gatemen trying to snap their losing streak, playing the Cotuit Kettleers. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. Evan Hill still out on the mound for the Gatemen, at least beginning his 6th inning of work. He'll face the top of the order for the Kettleers, Paez, Kendall, and Barry. The sun is now down. The sky's still bright, but the lights are on, making for a very nice evening here in Wareham. American flagpole in right center field is still. We've seen wind impact the game several times here throughout the course of the season, but not tonight. First pitch to Paez, misses outside, ball 1. In Hill's last start, he only lasted 4 2/3 innings, though he left with the lead, he was not given the victory, falling short of the 5-inning threshold. The 1-0. High pitch, just missing the zone. It's 2-0. On the year, Hill is 2-0. He came into the game with a 1.04 ERA. The one run he's allowed so far tonight is unearned, so the ERA going down. Finally gets a strike. There it's called, and it's 2-1. Paez calls time in the box as he adjusts his batting gloves. When Hill's day is done, if everything goes according to plan, it will be Ian Hamilton out of the bullpen. 2-1 from Hill. Hit sharply left field and twisting foul. Out of our view, but we could extrapolate the trajectory there. Pretty clear that that one had some hook to it. Looked like it broke the bat of Paez, and yes, he is going back for some new lumber.
With Hamilton in line to succeed Evan Hill on the mound after his outing is done, I think this game for the Gatemen gives them an extremely good chance at winning. Two extremely quality pitchers on the mound, and Hill's been great so far, only allowing one run. It's really going to be up to the offense for them to snap this 5-game funk. I think that's been really the story of the 5-game funk aside from the Chatham game.
Hill takes the sign. Paez with some new wood steps in and looks at strike 3. A breaking pitch that clips the outer half of the plate. Another strikeout for Evan Hill. He looks pretty sharp tonight.
Make that strikeout number 5 for the lefty. This one a little bit more rewarding than all the other ones because Michael Paez, a guy that doesn't strike out much whatsoever, actually 6 strikeouts. I missed one against Brett Stevens. But Michael Paez coming into this game, only 7 strikeouts this season and quite a few at-bats. Now make that number 8.
Jaron Kendall looks at one of those badly missing pitches outside, ball 1. A ball somewhere. Our cameraman has found it, and it looks like it's in dead center field. Perhaps
dangerous.
A stray warm-up ball. Yes, very dangerous, as strike 1 splits the plate in half to even up the count. I wonder how loud we would have to yell in order to get that removed. Now I can see it. Looking at it, it's 1 post to the left of the 412 sign. 1-1 again, right down the middle. Looked like he took something off, and it's now 1-2.
What shouldn't go unnoticed, though, is really the cohesion between our camera guy and you talking. He identified the ball. You talked about the ball, which is great broadcasting. And then you questioned, where is the ball? He zoomed out for you. That's 2 guys working together, really making the dream work.
Very good. Ball 2 misses outside to even up the count. Something that we've polished a little bit as the season's gone on. Of course, we don't have the video feed for our away game, so a luxury to be back home after almost a week on the road. 2-2 fastball, got him. Another strikeout for Evan Hill. This is not usually the way he has success, but only 1 hit allowed through 5 2/3 tonight, and now 7 strikeouts.
2 this inning and 3 in a row for the left-hander from Michigan. He has found a groove and just really executing all of his pitches right now in the zone and out of the zone, changing the hitter's eyesights and also changing up their timing as well by breaking off a few curveballs.
Brandon Berry 0 for 2 on the day, but he drove in the only run of the game for the Kettleers. Takes a big hack at a fastball and fouls it straight back. That was back in the first inning. Paez was on third with 1 down, and he grounded out to the shortstop Grand Prix. Infield was playing back because it's the first inning and no reason to play infield in. Berry was able to drive the run in while being retired. That Paez single, the only hit for the Kettleers this evening, as the 0-1 misses low and in, ball 1. Evan Hill, a couple weeks ago, was the Coca-Cola Pitcher of the Week in the Cape Cod Baseball League, making a case for himself again tonight. The 1-1 in on the fists, fouled back to the screen, 1-2. Another 2-strike count. We'll see what Hill goes to. We've seen a fastball, we've seen a changeup. Then we've seen what, from our vantage point, looks like a slider. A lot of lateral break, moving from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, looking in from center field. Hill looks in for the sign, gets his grip in the glove, and delivers the 1-2, missing low and in. Gatemen have gotten another sterling performance from Evan Hill tonight, trying to put the finishing touches on his 6th inning. 2-2 high fastball, fouled straight back again. Looks like Barry's just been missing on these high fastballs. 3 times now he's fouled it back to the screen.
And so expect Evan Hill to make the necessary adjustment. He's not going to continue to pound fastballs high if Barry's been on them. Expect some sort of off-speed pitch here to alter the eyesight of Barry.
Or just go even higher.
True.
We'll see what he goes with here.
A high fastball can make an average fastball look a lot faster than it is.
The 2-2 to Barry. Missing low in the dirt. Stopped by Kisner. Count full with Stevens on deck.
It was the curveball there in the dirt that time. Barry did a good job in holding off. Really a tough task for him after seeing fastball, 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 and being on all of them, to have to alter his timing and then just actually spit on a curveball in the dirt.
Hill steps off, now steps back on. Nobody warming in the bullpen. This is Hill's game. The 3-2 misses outside a breaking pitch, and another 2-out walk from the left arm of Hill. Runners aboard for the Kettleers for the cleanup hitter, Brett Stevens. Second consecutive inning and 3rd time in this game in which Evan Hill, with nobody on, has walked a batter with 2 down. Brett Stevens, 0 for 2 on the day, like so many others in this lineup. Grounded out to second in the 1st and struck out swinging in the 4th. First pitch misses outside, ball 1. Hill from the stretch, now throws over to first. A pretty close play. Barry electing not to dive, and that might have saved him, actually. Had he dove, looked like the throw was on target. Hill with the 1-0. Hit in the air, left center field, shallow. It's going to be Grand Prix, the shortstop coming out. He puts it away. 6 one-hit innings for Evan Hill. We head to the bottom of the 6th, tied up 1-1 between Cotuit and Wareham. You're watching WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning, tied up 1-1 between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 for the Gatemen, facing a new pitcher for the Kettleers and Mitch Stallings.
We've seen Mitch Stallings before, a left-handed 6'1", 160 pitcher out of Duke University. He's thrown 2 times against the Gatemen, a total of 5 innings. Hasn't allowed a hit, the only base runner coming on a walk. So just like John Woodcock, who have also seen twice, Stallings has had a lot of success against the Gatemen. Not really what they want to see in the 6th inning of a 1-1 ball game.
The book closed on Austin Sexton. He went 5 innings, allowing 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned despite an error occurring in the inning. He struck out 3, including a big one back in the 4th inning of Logan Sowers with runners at 1st and 2nd. Jay Jabb stepping in. He is 0 for 2 on the day, struck out swinging in the 1st and tapped out to 1st in the 3rd. Kettleers scored first in this game with a run in the top half of the 1st inning. Gatemen countered with a run of their own in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Taking advantage of that error, it was a throwing error by Tim Cisnera on an RBI single by Andrew Kalika. It is an earned run in the books, but an accurate throw from Cisnera probably would have gotten Kalika in time to end that 3rd inning. It's going to be a pinch hitter for Jay Jabs. It's Connor Beck. It will be most likely a straight swap. Beck's primary position right field, and Jabs, the departing Jabs, also played right field. First pitch to Beck, fouled off right side.
I love the move from Cooper Ferris to pinch hit for Jay Jabs in this situation. After Mike Roberts brings in a left-handed pitcher to start off this inning, Cooper Ferris immediately goes to his bench, swaps out the left-handed hitting Jabs, and goes with the right-hander in Beck.
The 0-1 goes fishing for a low pitch. It's quickly 0-2.
To firmly cement the book on Austin Sexton, he threw 79 pitches, 51 of them were for strikes, so a strike percentage of just under 65. Not exceptional, not terrible, pretty average for a Cape League pitcher.
The 0-2 to Beck, rolled up the middle and into center field. So Beck with a pinch hit single, he's aboard with nobody out in the bottom half of the sixth. That'll bring up Mark Karaviotis, who is, like Jabs was, 0 for 2 on the day. Struck out swinging in the first and tapped out to first in the fourth.
He's in the 3-hole for a reason, because he's been hot, but not your prototypical 3-hole hitter. He can lay down a bunt. Cooper Ferris running through the signs in the third base coaching box. Wouldn't be shocked at all to see Karaviotis pull the trigger on a bunt.
Beck with a modest lead. Stallings, a lefty, able to keep a close eye on his runner at first. The delivery to the plate, inside ball one, no indication of a bunt from Karaviotis. Beck again with a standard lead. Now in about a quarter step. Stallings throws over there, and Beck's back without a dive. Evan Hill's night might be done. 1 hit allowed and 1 run allowed. It was unearned back in the first inning. Gatemen want to get him the victory. The 1-0 to Karaviotis, squaring to bunt and bunting it foul. And that's been a pet peeve of Cooper Ferris. He said before the game that he would really, really like to do some small ball, but time and time again, his hitters have proven to not be capable of consistently getting those bunts down. We'll see if Karaviotis is given the bunt sign again, or if he's allowed to swing away. Third baseman Cisnera in on the cut of the grass. Stallings throws over to first, and again Beck is back. Beck pinch hit in the 2 spot for Jay Jabs. He singled to start this 6th inning. The Stallings 1-1 to Karaviotis, dropping it down, a foul ball, and it looks like it got Karaviotis when he was still in the box. I believe that's the call. Regardless, the count 1-2, and Karaviotis, perhaps luckily, still alive. Sometimes you see that hit the batter, and once they've left the box, of course, they're called out. Might have been a double hit as well. From our vantage point, very difficult to see, but getting the indication that it was a foul ball despite landing in fair territory.
Cooper Ferris and Mark Karaviotis having a few words down the third base line. Ferris likely asking Karaviotis, are you comfortable with bunting with 2 strikes? If he says yes, then all systems go. We'll see the bunt on again. If not, Karaviotis could be asked to hit away.
Now Cisnera in a couple more steps at third. Wide open hole on the right side of the infield. Stallings again throwing over. Beck's yet to have to dive. Not stretching his luck with the lead at first. Stallings comes to a set. Checks Beck, and now the 1-2 to Karaviotis. Hit through the hole, right side, base hit. That same hole that was left wide open is exploited by Karaviotis. Now first and second, nobody out for David McKinnon.
Just a really gritty at-bat there from Mark Karaviotis, getting down 2 strikes, not even being able to swing away. Instead, 2 foul balls coming on bunts. And for him to just have the confidence in both himself and his coach to have the confidence in him, to be able to pull the trigger there and find a hole, it's huge, and it really speaks dividends. Now here's a situation in which, again, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bunt. Yes, it's the 4-hitter McKinnon, but he's in a bit of a slump at the plate, can lay down a bunt. And at this point, I think Cooper Ferris would do anything really to get 2 runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs.
Looks like we'll have to wait to see what happens. Mike Roberts has made the motion to the bullpen. It's a new pitcher in the game for the Kettleers. When we come back, we'll have more. We're tied at 1 in the bottom of the 6th, but the Gatemen threatening on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 1-1 between the Wareham Gatemen and the Cotuit Kettleers in the bottom of the 6th inning. But the Gatemen are threatening. Runners at first and second, nobody out. And Mitch Stallings' day is done. He's replaced on the mound by Jack Anderson.
Anderson, a 6'3", 210 righty from Penn State University, has been the benefactor of 3 wins this season. Not, of course, going to be indicative of his overall body of work. That's more represented in the fact that he has a 2.03 ERA on the season, 11 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 13 1/3 innings of work.
Mitch Stallings, in his 2 previous appearances against the Gatemen, allowed 0 hits in 5 innings, but 2 hits in 2 batters to start the 6th inning, and his day is done. McKinnon 0 for 2 on the day. He lined out to the shortstop, Mike Paez, in the 2nd, and then grounded out to 3rd in the 4th. A chance here to take the lead for the Gatemen for the first time in the game.
It'll be an interesting stat when I have time to go back and look it up, but the last time the Gatemen strung 3 hits in a row together. Not sure when that happened, but all I can say is it's been a very long time.
It might have been late in that game Wednesday night against Chatham.
Right. Yep.
We weren't broadcasting, and
well, it doesn't count then if we weren't broadcasting.
Really paying attention because we were more concerned about our audio board almost frying than the rain coming down. The Gatemen strung together a few consecutive hits to score 5 runs. First pitch to McKinnon, squaring to bunt. It's a good one, third base side of the mound. The throw to first in time to get McKinnon, but the sacrifice is successful. Both runners move up. Score at 5-3, McKinnon credited with a sacrifice. And now Beck at third, Karaviotis at second, with 1 down for Andrew Kisner.
So much unconventional movement going on that play. First of all, the wheel play was on it short. Paez sprints in front of the runner, which was Beck on second base, heads over to third. That's all before McKinnon even squares to bunt. Just remarkable there that they had the confidence in the fact that he was bunting. And then the pitcher on the mound and Jack Anderson coming from about a 3/4 release point. A lot of motion there, and McKinnon not phased and gets the bunt down.
Infield playing in. We'll see how aggressively they pitch to Kisner. 0 for 1 on the day. He walked his last time up. The first pitch to Kisner, missing high ball 1. Just before that pitch, you might have seen it on the monitor, Jaron Kendall, the center fielder, moved from the left field side of center field all the way to the right field side of center field. If the infield gets a ground ball, they'll probably go home. Anderson with a 1-0 to Kisner, missing very badly, up and away, 2-0. And now, the question is, do you intentionally walk Kisner to load the bases, set up the double play for the much hotter hitting Charlie Warren? If the count goes 3-0, that decision will be made much easier for Mike Roberts. As it is, it looks like they're still going to pitch to Andrew Kisner. The runner at third, Beck, runner at second, Karaviotis, 1 down in the bottom of the 6th. Anderson has missed badly in his first 2 pitches. Here's the 2-0. This one closer, but still outside. It's 3-0. And now Cantu looking in towards his dugout. Still no indication that they're going to intentionally walk Kisner. This could be one of those situations where it's unintentional in name only. Don't throw a strike here. The 3-0 to Kisner. Hit on the ground. Fair ball down the first base line. 1 run will score. Karaviotis will be held. An RBI single chopped over the drawn-in infield, and the Gatemen take a 2-1 lead. Not hit well at all, but Kisner getting the green light on 3-0.
Yeah, duck snort, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't hit well. It was off the end of the bat, actually. An outside pitch in the zone, and not a bad one from Anderson. He didn't want to groove the 3-0 pitch because that's what Kisner was exactly sitting on. But he got fortunate there that it took such a big hop, it went over the leaping glove of Barry over at first base. Kisner gets off the schneid, breaking an 0 for 19 slump with an RBI single.
The threat still active. Karaviotis at third, now Kisner at first. Still one down for Charlie Warren. 1 for 2 on the day. He singled his last time up. Off-speed pitch hits the outside corner, strike one. That run is charged to Mitch Stallings, who began this inning by allowing singles to both Beck and Karaviotis.
Another one of his runners on third base in the form of Mark Karaviotis. Should Anderson allow him to score, also will be attributed to his line.
0-1 hooked foul and out of play down the right field line.
That ball just has a ton of movement coming on it into home plate. My jaw's dropping every single time because that ball looked like it was in the strike zone and then all of a sudden darted for the back foot of Charlie Warren. The first pitch of the at-bat looked well outside and then had so much snap on it that it caught the outside corner.
With a runner at first, the infield now playing back in double play depth. Warren behind in the count, 0-2. Runner goes. It's a hit and run, it looked like. Warren gets a piece of it and sends it back to the screen. I don't know if it was a hit and run on 0-2, but it was definitely a protect swing on a pitch that looked to be a few inches off the outside corner. Kisner going, not really known for his speed. Not known for a lack of speed either, but definitely a surprising move. We'll see if he goes again on 0-2. Anderson comes to a set and delivers to Warren. Hit down the left field line, foul and out of play. Nice catch by a fan in the stands.
Didn't bring his glove, but still with a barehanded stab.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Count still 0-2. Back to the game action. Karaviotis at third. Kisner at first. Anderson comes to a set and delivers the 0-2 to Warren. Runner going. The pitch is outside. The throw down to second is in time. He got him. Gatemen taking a risk, sending Kisner, but he's thrown out stealing second. And now 2 down, runner at third. Gatemen may be banking on the assumption that the Kettleers had a first and third play going, and it was going to be a cut play with one of the middle infielders coming in to catch the throw and fire home. Now the 1-2 to Warren. Off-speed pitch got him swinging. So the Gatemen get one and take the lead, but they squander an opportunity to get more. We head to the top of the 7th. 2-1 Wareham over Cotuit on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Two-1 Gatemen as we head to the top of the 7th inning. The day is done for Evan Hill. He was tremendous. Only 1 hit allowed through 6 innings. It led to an unearned run back in the first inning, but 7 strikeouts for Hill. And now he turns the game over to the bullpen and Ian Hamilton.
And it's a good one, and Ian Hamilton, the closer from Washington State, 6 foot, 195 on the mound, has a fastball low to mid-90s, 92, 93. Also has a slider that has a quirky grip and generates a ton of movement. That goes 79 to 81. Working on a third pitch because actually for this Gateman team, he's being extended as a starting pitcher. Here, though, tonight he'll be asked to take on a relief role, a bit of a flip between his last appearance in which he started against Harwich. He was magnificent, went 5.2 innings, only allowed an earned run, and because of it, his ERA sitting at 1.40.
He'll face Michael Cantu, Spencer Gay, and Tim Cisnera for the Kettleers here in their half of the 7th inning. Looks like there's going to be a pinch hitter for Cantu. It's Will Haney. And we've seen a lot of Haney, too. There are pretty much 2 results of a Will Haney at bat, a strikeout or a long, long home run. That's simplifying, of course. But Haney leading the team with 4 home runs and also leading the team with 26 strikeouts. No one else is even close. Second place is a tie between a couple of players with 16 strikeouts. Ball 1 misses.
It'll be a straight switch, too, because he takes the batting position of Michael Cantu, who's a catcher. Haney himself, also a catcher, is in a bit of a slump at the plate, kind of has been for the entire season for that matter. Only 2 for his last 20, but ironically enough, those 2 hits are not home runs.
Really? Well, he's batting 153 on the year.
I guess stats don't lie.
The 1-1 misses low and in. It's 2-1. Haney has a lot of pop. If you watch Kettleers batting practice, you surely know that. The 2-1 from Hamilton. Missing low, it's 3-1 with Spencer Gay on deck. This is the danger in swapping out Hill for someone else. Hamilton, as good as he's been, is a different pitcher. And Hill was really cruising along. He did not allow a hit after the first batter of the game. The 3-1 to Haney. Chopped foul, third base line.
Final note on Evan Hill, 93 of his pitches, and only 55 of them went for strikes. Not that good of a ratio, and in fact, a 59% strike ratio. It's only a cause for concern if it doesn't work. And only allowing 1 hit in 6 innings of work, it clearly worked for him.
Haney with a late swing. He's retired for out number 1 here in the 7th.
That's what happens when you anticipate breaking ball and get a fastball. You just really look silly at the plate. Hamilton blew a fastball by him, and before Haney knew what to do, he offered a pretty lackadaisical swing.
Now Spencer Gay, 0 for 2 on the day, struck out looking in the 2nd and flew out to left in the 5th. Hamilton pitching from the windup, delivers the first pitch strike on the outside corner. Cotuit scored the first run of this game, unearned run back in the 1st inning. Since then, single runs for the Gatemen in the 3rd and the 6th innings to take the lead. Another strike called, and it's quickly 0-2 to Gay. Another note, we mentioned in the last half of the inning that it would be a straight switch, Beck in for Jabs, and that is indeed the case. Connor Beck now playing right field for the Gatemen. Hamilton takes the sign, agrees with his catcher Kisner, and delivers the 0-2. Bounced in the dirt, ball 1. Gatemen are winless since last Friday, the 3rd of July. They tied in 12 innings, a 0-0 tie against the Bourne Braves on the 4th, then lost Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The 1-2 to Gay. On the outside corner, strike 3 looking. So Hamilton comes in and strikes out the first 2 batters he faces. 2 down now in the top half of the 7th.
When all your pitches are working, it gets a whole lot easier on the mound. Hamilton started off Gay with 2 breaking balls. Then he spun one in the dirt, and then he comes with just an explosive fastball into the zone and freezes Gay at the plate.
Now Tim Cisnera, 0 for 1 on the day. He walked in the 2nd. It's about as close as the Kettleers came to scoring another run in this game. He stole 2nd, then advanced to 3rd. First pitch chopped on the ground. Nice stop by McKinnon. Flip on to Hamilton. And a quick 1-2-3 inning for Hamilton and the Gatemen. It's time to stretch. The Gatemen leading 2-1. You're watching WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. (2-1) Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Kettleers have not gotten a hit since the first batter of the game. Gatemen, on the other hand, have scored single runs in the 3rd and 6th to take a 2-1 lead. It'll be 7, 8, and 9 for the Gatemen, due up against Jack Anderson. Look around the league with our good friend Jake Garcia.
I think we should make this a tradition. 7th inning stretch, that means it's look around the league time. The Orleans Firebirds, who have lost 2 games in a row, went over to Brewster and took it by the final score of 2-0, snapping a 2-game losing streak. The Bourne Braves 4-1 over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, a matchup of the top two teams in the West Division. That game's still going on currently in the bottom of the ninth inning. Bourne with a 3-run lead. Falmouth, a bit of an upset, 4-1 over the Harwich Mariners. The team tied with Cotuit in the cellar of the West comes out victorious. You're watching the Gatemen and the Kettleers. And then the YD Red Sox are really cooling off the red-hot Chatham Anglers, who have won 4 games in a row. Right now, though, they're trailing to the defending champion Red Sox 7-1.
Thank you, Jake. Logan Sowers hits the first pitch foul down the first base line. Sowers ended a little bit of a skid with a single in the third inning, came around to score the first run for the Gatemen, then struck out swinging with runners at first and second and 2 out in the fourth. Anderson's 0-1, again tapped foul right side. It's 0-2. Another arm warming up for the Kettleers and the bullpen. That's another trademark of Mike Roberts' teams. Very quick hook and eager to burn through the arms for any statistical advantage. Hit weakly left side, charging as Cisnera, throwing across in time to get Sowers out number 1. Score at 5-3, and save for that throwing error by Cisnera, which again was on a pretty good throw in the dirt, just got past Brandon Berry at first. He's been very, very good at the hot corner in this game and all season from what we've seen of him.
Yeah, and making the adjustment after being a catcher for the bulk of his collegiate career, being asked to move over positions to depart for Cantu and for Haney as well. He's really shown no signs of having a little bit of rust or just learning the new position. The learning curve for him very short. He's been able to throw on the runs on multiple occasions.
First pitch to John Sternagel. Almost looked like a glitch in a video game the way that ball came in. It's low, and it's ball 1. Sternagel on the day 0 for 1. He had a sacrifice bunt in the third, then was robbed of a base hit. Scored 6-3 in the scorecard with an exclamation point. Mike Paez making a really nice play, the shortstop coming up the middle. Second pitch plunks Sternagel in the thigh, and he'll walk gingerly down to first. He's aboard with 1 down here in the bottom of the 7th.
It had the same makings of the first pitch of the at-bat, but this time, no glitch in the video game. The ball didn't move much, and Sternagel will certainly take it. He's aboard for the first time.
Now Preston Grand Prix, who, like Sternagel, 0 for 1 on the day with a sacrifice bunt coming in the third inning. His last time up, he grounded out to third. Sternagel with a modest lead at first. He goes on the first pitch, swung on and missed. The throw down to second, goes into center field. Sternagel credited with a stolen base on a failed hit and run. The throw going into center, but Sternagel content to stay at second. So now a runner in scoring position for the Gatemen. Preston Grand Prix with a hit to the outfield could score. And now Mike Roberts out, arguing with the home plate umpire about a potential interference call. Grand Prix lunged on the outside pitch, trying to make contact on what was a hit and run. Haney, behind the plate, standing at 6'5", has a pretty wide stride and apparently made contact with Grand Prix. Roberts pretty animated, as he is wont to do. I can actually hear him. I can hear "Why the crap?"
Have you ever seen a Cape Cod manager be thrown out of a ball game?
We saw Cooper Ferris pretty close in that Harwich game early on, but this is unlike anything I've ever seen. Animated and very upset. I want to take him by the arm and say, "Mike, it's just a game." The call is not changed, to the chagrin of Roberts, and now the count 0-1, Grand Prix stepping back in the box, and Sternagel at second. Anderson with the 0-1. Slashed foul, quickly 0-2. I can see the beef, because the catcher should have the right of way on that. I was not watching it, and I assume neither was the home plate umpire. All the action going down to second base. But Grand Prix was not intentionally interfering with that. He was lunging at an outside pitch on a failed hit and run. Anderson's 0-2 to Grand Prix. chopped foul right side towards the Gatemen dugout. Can still hear some barking from the Cotuit dugout. Sternagel takes his lead at second. Anderson with the 0-2 to Grand Prix. Inside, that hit him. He turns away from the pitch. He was crowding the plate, but definitely turning away. And now first base occupied. That'll roll over the top of the order for the Gatemen, Andrew Kalika, who already has 2 hits and an RBI today.
A huge mistake there from Anderson with 2 strikes in the count to the 9-hitter to end up plunking him and putting him on first base, and now to turn this lineup over to the hottest hitter on the team. Not exactly what you want, and not exactly what's going to help in preserving a deficit that currently stands at 1.
The second straight hit batsman from the right arm of Anderson, and now here comes Roberts. Things just keep piling on for the Cotuit Kettleers skipper. No motion down to the bullpen yet. This might be to stall for time. Things have fallen apart quite abruptly for Anderson, who was rolling along. He got out of the 6th inning and then got the first out here in the 7th, but then hitting Sternagel, allowing a stolen base on a controversial non-interference call, and then Grand Prix hit by a pitch just a moment ago. Roberts glaring down the home plate umpire as he walks back to the dugout. The entire infield was in on that conference, so perhaps talking strategy on bunt coverage, perhaps, or something to that nature. Kalika has been a hot hitter, and he's been getting hits to the outfield, but he is so fast. A bunt here with runners at first and second not out of the question.
Those kids in left field hoping he goes Oppo Taco here.
The sidewinder Anderson with the first pitch to Kalika, missing outside, ball 1. Gatemen leading 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. They want more. Sternagel at second, Grand Prix at first. They both reached via hit by pitch. The 1-0 to Kalika. Another pitch on the outer half. This one hits the corner. It's now 1-1. Gatemen trying to add an insurance run here in the 7th. The 1-1 to Kalika missing outside. It's 2-1. Anderson came in midway through the 6th inning. Runners at first and second. He did allow one of his inherited runs to score, but he only allowed 1 hit and got out of the inning, escaping further damage. The 2-1 to Kalika missing outside. It's now 3-1 with Connor Beck on deck. I just killed a spider for you. Never mind. It's now on your scorebook. Sorry. Well done. Anderson comes to a set and delivers the 3-1 to Kalika. On the outside corner, count runs full.
Not really a surprising take there by Kalika on a 3-1 count. Completely comfortable with hitting with 2 strikes. And to make the pitcher throw an extra strike, certainly not a bad strategy.
Sternagel with third baseman speed at second. Grand Prix with shortstop speed at first. We'll see if they take off on the payoff pitch. They do not. And it's fouled straight back to the screen. That's the best way to describe their speeds, respectively, right? Sternagel runs like a third baseman. He's a third baseman. Grand Prix runs like a shortstop, and he's a shortstop.
Yeah, neither are explosive. Both, I say, are probably average. Grand Prix might be a little bit... Actually, Grand Prix is above average. Remembering his 60 time from Fenway, he can get around the base paths.
The 3-2 to Kalika. Hit in on the hands, right to the third baseman. A high hop, he tags the bag. No time to throw anywhere else. So a fielder's choice. Retiring Sternagel at third, Kalika reaches, and now 2 down for Connor Beck.
Credit to Grand Prix, who went into second base and didn't take too big of a turn when he saw the throw going on to first. That's what Cisnero was trying to coax him into doing. Grand Prix didn't bite, though, when he stays on second.
Connor Beck entered this game in the 6th inning for Jay Jabs, who had gone 0 for 2. Beck singled in his first plate appearance in the 6th, came around to score the go-ahead run. The runner on second, Grand Prix, runner on first, Kalika. First pitch from Anderson. Hit in on the fists, right side weakly. Barry scoops it up, and he takes it himself. That'll do it for the Gatemen here in the bottom of the 7th. They get 2 base runners, but do not score. We head to the top of the 8th. 2-1 Wareham over Cotuit on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Two-1 Gatemen lead as we head to the top of the 8th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. Ian Hamilton out to begin his 2nd inning of work. He's been very good for the Gatemen all year. For more on that, we're joined by Megan O'Brien.
Thanks, Eric. And you mentioned Ian Hamilton has been very good for the Gatemen all year. We see him in relief tonight, but the last time we saw him, he was in that starting role. He was in relief for Washington State, and I caught up with him after that starting role that he had at Harwich, and it was a great performance by him. Just 4 hits were given up, and he said that he's looking to transition into a starter this year at Washington State, and his biggest thing was doing on what the team needs, and tonight the team needs him to close out this one so the Gatemen can end the losing skid and get a W on the board. So look to see Hamilton getting that W on the board for the Gatemen. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Megan. 8-9-1 for the Kettleers. Brody Weiss leading off. First pitch swinging, hits it well, left center field. Sowers back, he has it measured, and he puts it away shy of the track. Looked like Weiss just got underneath it a little bit, and he's retired on 1 pitch for out number 1.
While the Gatemen are only 2-7 in 1-run games this year, this game currently a 1-run game, they are 9-1 this season after leading after the 7th inning. So it's a testament to the ability of their bullpen to put teams away. A lot of the times that the Gatemen have faltered by a difference of only 1 run, they've been behind going into these innings. But their relievers have worked very well when under pressure.
And they've played the Cotuit Kettleers pretty close. This is the 4th game between the 2 teams this year. All of them have been 1-run games. Pinch hitter in the game is Ross Grossvener. Spelled Grosvenor. I beg your pardon. We were told before the game, and this is a new addition to the roster. In the spirit of correction, as he takes a pitch on the outside corner, it's pronounced Grosvenor. Silent S. Which is bizarre, but we'll take the Cotuit Kettleers announcer's word for it. Grosvenor. So Grosvenor in for Jenko, who had gone 0 for 2 on the day, a big strikeout to end the 5th inning.
He's a big boy in the box, too. 6'5", 250 pounds. He has one thought on his mind, and that's tying this ball game up.
The 0-1, a big swing. He wanted to tie the game up on that one, but he comes up empty. It's 0-2. Hamilton winds and delivers the 0-2 to Grosvenor. Again, got him. Couple big swings from Grosvenor, but he comes up empty. Now 2 down in the top of the 8th. That'll bring up the top of the order Michael Paez. He has the only hit for the Kettleers this evening. It led off the 1st inning. He later came around to score the Kettleers' only run of the game. Grosvenor is listed as a first baseman, so I would imagine they'll find someone else to play right field in the bottom half of this inning. Another big swing from a Kettleer batter. Again, coming up empty is Paez. Hamilton with the 0-1. A half swing. Misses low inside. It's now 1-1.
Yeah, you alluded to this when we were talking about 1-run games. All 3 of the games prior to this between Wareham and Cotuit have been of the 1-run sort. 4-3 win for Wareham in the first game.
Chopped on the ground to third. Sternhagel has it, throws on target to first. And another 1-2-3 inning for the Gatemen pitching staff. They're through 7.5 innings, and they've only allowed 1 hit. Gatemen hanging on to a 2-1 lead over Cotuit. You're watching WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 2-1 Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Gatemen in the 8th, the heart of the order. Jack Anderson still out there. He came in halfway through the 6th inning, and he got into trouble in the 7th, allowing 2 base runners, but then wiggled his way out of it as he did the jam he got into in the 6th. Gatemen scored 1 run in the 3rd, 1 run in the 6th to take the lead. Their pitching staff has only allowed 1 hit so far tonight, and that was back in the 1st inning.
Kind of reminiscent of the 1-0 win for the Gatemen. A Kalika home run was the 1 hit for them in that ball game. A lot of 1-hit performances and 1-run performances for both teams when they play each other.
Karaviotis takes a low strike. It's 0-1. On the day, he's 1 for 3. Struck out in the 1st, grounded out to 1st in the 4th, and then singled, got as far as 3rd in the 6th. The 0-1. Off a foot, looked like, or off a leg, and it's quickly 0-2. That single back in the 6th inning, one of the more impressive at-bats we've seen from a Gateman batter this year. He was behind in the count. With a runner at first, Beck, he wanted to, at the very least, get the runner to second base. There was a big hole because Karaviotis had failed to drop down a couple bunts. There was a big hole with the infield shifting towards the third base side. That left a big hole on the right side, and Karaviotis shot a single through it and into right field. The 0-2 to Karaviotis. Tapped foul, left side. Cisnera handles it in foul territory.
Yeah, it's so disheartening when you watch 2 bunts go foul. Your job up there is to get the runners over, and you failed to do so. So to be able to rebound like that just should be a testament to how confident Karaviotis is in handling the bat.
Anderson with the 0-2 to Karaviotis. Got him. Looked like an off-speed pitch. That Rowe is up in the zone. Karaviotis retired on a strikeout for out number 1 in the bottom half of the 8th. That'll bring up David McKinnon. 0 for 2 on the day. A sacrifice bunt his last time up. Anderson comes to a set and delivers the first pitch to McKinnon on the inside corner, strike 1. Gatemen are not an extra base team. A lot of singles hitters, and that means that they typically have to string a couple of hits together to score a run. This one rolled up the middle. Weiss with a backhand stop. He at least slows it down, but can't put it in his glove. An infield single for McKinnon with 1 down in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, we've talked about it extensively. The isolated power of this Gateman team is way down. Isolated power, of course, being a representation of how often this team hits for extra bases. Last in the Cape League in doubles. They don't have any triples this year, and after a hot start in the home run department, they've fallen off precipitously in the recent days. Only 7 on the season, which is tied for last. It just makes the job on the offense all the more tougher and having to string together hit after hit after hit.
Kisner, 1 for 2 on the day. Hits it to right field. Backtracking is Jenko, leaping up and making an over-the-shoulder catch. Now the throw back to first is in time to get McKinnon. Kisner hit it well to right field, but a nice play by Jenko and then a nice throw back to first. Barry was at the bag before McKinnon was, and that'll do it for the Gatemen in the 8th. They bat just 3 and do not score. We head to the top of the 9th inning. Ian Hamilton will try and close it out for the Gatemen on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Wareham Gatemen trying to close out a 2-1 victory and get back in the left-hand column. Their last win was a week ago Friday when they beat the Bourne Braves on the 3rd of July. So far tonight, a very impressive pitching performance. First from Evan Hill, now from Ian Hamilton. Only 1 hit allowed, that was back in the 1st inning. Hamilton will face 2, 3, and 4 in the Kettleers order. Jaron Kendall, Brandon Berry, and Brett Stevens.
It's the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, so a tough portion to navigate through for Hamilton coming up in the 9th inning. But so far, the only damage that's been done is a walk from Barry and an RBI ground out for him as well. No base hits for these 3 batters.
Hamilton has faced 6 batters and retired all of them, striking out 3 since he came in to start the 7th inning. The pitcher of record is Evan Hill. He went 6 one-hit innings, allowing 1 unearned run. If this score holds and the Cotuit Kettleers fall, the loss will go to Mitch Stallings, who allowed 2 singles in the 6th inning, did not retire a batter. And then that first runner, Connor Beck, came in to score on an RBI single off the bat of Andrew Kisner. First pitch swinging, hit well but very foul down the right field line by Jaron Kendall.
I love that description, very foul. It was very foul. That's probably the best way to put it. He was well out in front of the breaking ball from Hamilton. It was hit well, but nowhere near the field of play.
Hamilton winds and delivers, missing just outside to even up the count at 1-1. Interesting to see Hamilton go over his head with his windup. That's not something that you see very often anymore. Kind of more of an old-timey thing, but...
Satchel Paige-esque?
Yes. The 1-1 gets a swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Kisner squats down behind the plate. Gives Hamilton the sign for the 1-2. Hamilton winds and delivers to Kendall. It's just flipped foul back towards us and off the screen. Kettleers haven't had a base runner since the 6th inning when Brandon Berry had a 2-out walk. The 1-2 from Hamilton. Foul tip off the glove and towards the dirt. I didn't hear any foul tip, but that's the only explanation for what happened. The count stays 2-2, and it looked like that one just nicked the bat enough to alter the trajectory and kick it out of the glove of Kisner behind the plate.
Yeah, and Kisner's kind of shaken up now. That's why we see the home plate umpire dusting off home plate. Hamilton peering in, inquiring if his catcher is okay.
Count still 1-2. Hamilton shakes off the first couple offerings, now accepts the third, and delivers the 1-2, just missing outside. Kisner framed it as best he could, but it misses wide, and now the count 2-2. Hamilton with the 2-2 to Kendall. Flipped foul and out of play again, left side.
This is just a very minor detail, and one that I may not even be able to get in with 2 strikes. But it'll be interesting to see as Kisner progresses as a catcher if he starts to line up more outside and then angle his body more towards the plate, kind of like Yadier Molina does, to give the umpire a better view of a possible strike on the outside corner. Right now, that's on the outside of his body, so it looks more like a ball if it were on the inside.
2-2 hit in the air, shallow left field. Grand Prix out, giving way to Sowers, the left fielder, who catches it with one hand, out number 1. That'll bring up Brandon Berry. In a scorecard full of mundane outs, Brandon Berry has at least had an interesting day. He's walked once, that was back in the 6th, the last base runner for the Kettleers. And then back in the 1st inning, he had an RBI ground out to score the only run of the game for Cotuit. Those two at bats sandwich a hard line out to the third baseman Sternagel in the 4th inning. First pitch from Hamilton. Big swing and a miss. The Kettleers, unlike the Gatemen, do have some pop on their team, and based on these swings in the late innings, they're trying to tie up this game on one swing of the bat. Hamilton accepts the sign from his catcher Kisner and delivers the 0-1, missing low. Gatemen faithful want another home victory here tonight. The windup and the delivery from Hamilton. Hit on the ground up the middle. Grand Prix charges, double clutches, throws on, and in time to get buried by a step. Kettleers are now down to their last out.
Grand Prix knew he had to charge that ball, and it forced him to have to come get it on a short hop, but the soft hands from the shortstop enabled him to corral it with ease, and then took a little bit of an extra time to regain himself, come set, and deliver a strong throw on to first.
That'll bring up Brett Stevens, last chance for the Kettleers. 0 for 3 on the day, ground out to second, strikeout, and a pop out to the shortstop Grand Prix. The UCLA product trying to at least extend this game. High fastball gets a swing and a miss, 0-1. Hamilton with the 0-1 to Brett Stevens. Hit in the air, foul, and out of play left side. And now the Gatemen are one strike away from ending the losing streak. The crowd voicing their support as Hamilton delivers the 0-2 to Stevens. Just missing the outside corner. A very close pitch and a good take when it was all said and done by Stevens, who laid off, and now the count 1-2. Hamilton will try again with the 1-2 to Stevens. Half swing in the dirt. Did he go? He did not. Another close call, and the Kettleers still alive.
I think everyone within a 5-mile radius of Spillane Field wanted those last two strike calls. Both were super close, and I think Stevens on both occasions thought he was perhaps going to be called out on strikes.
Hamilton was ahead 0-2. Now the count 2-2 after two very close calls. Trying to finish out a 3-inning save. Missing low, count runs full with Will Haney on deck.
It's going to be power on power from these two Pac-12 guys in this last pitch of the at-bat to Brett Stevens. Hamilton, his bread and butter is his fastball. Stevens may be expecting that. We'll see who wins the battle.
Hamilton with the payoff pitch to Brett Stevens. Hit in the air left field. Routine for Sowers. He has it measured, and he puts it away. The losing streak is over as Evan Hill and Ian Hamilton combine to one-hit the Cotuit Kettleers. Final score 2-1. Gatemen getting their first victory since last Friday. They move to 12-14-1 on the year. The Kettleers in defeat fall to 10-17. The win goes to Evan Hill for 6 innings of one-hit ball. The loss goes to Mitch Stallings in relief. And the save, the 3-inning save, 9 up, 9 down, goes to Ian Hamilton.
The Gatemen have now won 3 of 4 against the Cotuit Kettleers, and we knew going into this matchup, it was one on paper at least that boded well for them to snap this 5-game losing streak. The runs weren't there as we anticipated. Of course, Austin Sexton coming into the game with an ERA above 6, but for the most part, he shut down this Gateman offense, only allowing 1 run. But let's be honest, the big story of this game was the combination of Evan Hill and Ian Hamilton on the mound. The two of them were just lights out, only 1 hit, and these pitchers just continue to put solid outing after solid outing together, and it makes the job easier on the offense, especially when they're struggling.
The Spillane Field speakers playing "The Boys Are Back in Town," and the Gatemen finally returning home after a long and disappointing road trip put together a well-earned and hard-fought victory against the Cotuit Kettleers. The totals on the board are correct. The Kettleers scoring 1 run. It was unearned on only 1 hit. They had 1 error. The Wareham Gatemen, the victorious Wareham Gatemen, scoring 2 runs on 8 hits. They committed 2 errors. Again, the win going to Hill, the loss to Stallings, and the save to Hamilton. We will sign off from Spillane Field. Keep in mind that we will have our post-game interviews. They will be posted to YouTube and our social media accounts after they are completed. For Jake Garcia, Megan O'Brien, our broadcast coordinator, Warren Randolph, all the folks at WCTV, our interns, our camera people, and everyone in the Gatemen organization, thank you for watching tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, 5 o'clock at Yarmouth Dennis. I'm Eric Bramer signing off from Spillane Field. Final score, Gatemen 2, Kettleers 1.